What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy and Frame Sunday pregame show. I'm your host for the next 20 minutes or so until Nate gets here. Jorge Edwards, and with me I got Jonathan Klonowski, hailing from over in Scotland. Jonathan, how are you doing, man?
Very good. It's feeling very festive and Christmassy over here in the UK. And yeah, looking forward to this week 14. It's just kind of like I think like one of the most important weeks in like fantasy football. I know for like a load of
Yes.
my teams, it's like I need to win. And for like my most important league, my home league, I need to win, and I have like 3, 4 players on bye, so it's not
Yeah.
necessarily looking good. But yeah, so I'm intrigued to see some of the questions come through because this is the week. If you're going to win one week, this is the week that you need to win.
Yeah. So, it's funny. I was looking, obviously I was reading all of our content at fantasyandframes.com, including your fantasy football trends heading into week 14. And whether it's like our plays and fades or IDP plays and fades, or even our waiver wire, everything is just very heightened. We understand the stress a lot of you are going into right now into these matchups. A lot of you're needing the upside, you're needing the stability with a good floor. A lot of different scenarios, and so we're hoping to cover all those for you this morning as we head into the Sunday games and Monday Night Football. Yeah, so let's get into Jonathan, let's just get into some news and notes, shall we?
Yeah.
Alrighty. We got a question here in the chat already. We got Michael. Let's answer his question really good, quickly. Full PPR, Woody or Bam? For me, it's Bam Knight in this matchup. Let me pull up the matchup here right now. The Rams, they are, over the past 4 weeks, 13th in fantasy points allowed. So you love that for Bam Knight, where there's no real depth behind him going forward. You go against the Chiefs. The Chiefs allowed to the running back position over the past month the 23rd most. So they're pretty stingy actually against the run. So it's for that reason, even with the PPR aspect, I'm going to go with Bam Knight here. What about you, Jonathan?
I think I'm doing the same thing as well. I think with Bam Knight, he has been seeing much more consistent usage in the passing game compared to Woody Moggs. I mean, Woody Moggs over the last 3 weeks has had 1 target in each of those. He hasn't
Right.
scored a touchdown, and so you're basically left with a single digit PPR points. Whereas with
Yeah.
Bam Knight, he's seeing last week it was 3, the weeks before that 5, 4, 4. So you're seeing this like consistent PPR usage there. I know that we probably expect the Rams to win that game. Although saying that, they lost to the Panthers, so who on earth knows? Um, I think because of that PPR usage, I would be going Bam here as well.
Yeah, 7 targets. What was it? I just saw here. 8 targets, like you said, over the past 3 weeks, 7 receptions, 56 yards, a touchdown. And again, there's no, Benson this week. And Trey Benson, if he's not activated this coming week, I believe he's done for the season. Mercado, I believe, is out. Michael Carter, we're not too concerned about him. So yeah, I'm with you there. So yeah, thank you very much for the question and welcome in, JT. How you doing, man?
Hey there, how you guys doing this morning?
When I shot you a text message last night, and you're like, "Yeah, so I'm watching the Big Ten championship game," and I was not doing that. I should have been. And holy crap, Indiana pulling off that upset to win outright. That is unreal.
Here in Big Ten country, it's the most ridiculous thing of all time. We saw Indiana and Duke win football championships, 2 known basketball schools, both put together unbelievable performances. One last night. I can't, as an Illinois fan, to see Indiana win a football championship before Illinois it's a little hard. It's a little hard, but Indiana, what a showing, man! They played fantastic game. I still think Ohio State wins the national championship. I hate to say it, but they lost that game. I think it wakes them up, just like last year when they lost to Michigan and then turned around and won it all. I think they end up winning it. I think they had the best team. Their defense is unbelievable. They just – a couple bad coaching decisions and a terrible missed field goal late just killed them. But congratulations to the Hoosiers. Got a bunch of friends in Indiana, and they were all pumped. Pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable.
So one of our hosts of the Dynasty 365 show, Aiden Weingartner, he messages me yesterday, and he's like, I know it's early, but I want to do a real early Superflex rookie mock draft. And so he's going to be putting that together over at fantasyandframes.com and releasing that in article format next week. So, as we're winding down, we're not even to the playoffs yet, folks. Like, we're not even at the fantasy playoffs. We're like on the doorstep. And Aiden's like, I already want to get ahead of everything come January. I want to make sure that everybody has an idea of what is going on with his player evals. And so kudos to Aiden, and congratulations for becoming the host of Dynasty 365. Definitely proud of you there.
That's awesome. Yeah, for Aiden, it was great. We talked about it a little bit in the show this week, but I've got a 26 and a 27 mock I've already done this year.
Mm-hmm.
I did them earlier in the college football season, so I've got 2 more coming out here in like the next month as I update it from my early season. I did one kind of like very beginning of the year, first like couple weeks, and we'll see how it's changed over the course of the season, which it has quite a bit. But yeah, Mendoza, I got into a few Twitter arguments about him last night. I was bringing up some comparisons about him with some things not necessarily good or bad. Just was talking about some players I think he kind of reminded me of college, and I got some hate on that. But these things happen. So
yeah, Mr. Scamper's in the chat. He's like, is the next Kirko Chains? I never heard Kirk Cousins so openly referred to as Kirko Chains, but you know what? Well,
heck of a of a moniker there. With that picture just sits in your head, right? Him on the plane with all the chains, dancing. It's so ridiculous.
And he was on brand for Fantasy and Frames. He had the glasses on while he was doing it, so I loved it. But Jonathan, why don't you get us started with some news and notes, if you don't mind, while I'm posting something on Twitter for all of us.
So I guess the first thing that we want to talk about is Jaden Daniels returning for the Commanders against the Vikings today. How are we feeling about Jaden Daniels coming back? I mean, I think one of the most interesting things to think about is like how much usage is he going to see on the ground kind of immediately, because he was averaging like 9 rushing attempts a game for those first like 6 starts. We've got McLaurin back looking good even on like 50% of snaps last week. How are we? Do we feel confident kind of putting him straight into the starting lineup?
So here's a great point here that I get it. A lot of fantasy managers are like, Jaden Daniels, he's really good throwing the ball and he's really good running the ball, and therefore because of the rushing floor we're going to put him near the top of our list in terms of rankings. John McGlynn, how did you get JT up for this show? I have no idea. But
just barely.
Yeah. But this Vikings defense is not exactly a stingy, or excuse me, not exactly an easy one to deal with. They are let's see here, over the past 4 weeks in fantasy points allowed, they're 31st, so they're one of the toughest ones this past month in terms of fantasy points. You look at the type of defense this Vikings type of defense in terms of the coverage that they run. They're 5th highest in zone, and you look at his fantasy points per opportunity. Jaden Daniels versus zone this year has not been top 5. He's not been top 10. I believe he's closer to 16, 17. So in that fantasy points per opportunity, it takes into account throwing and rushing the ball. So a lot of now. That being the case, I understand on paper defensively this looks like tough matchups here across the board for the Commanders, but we thought that against the Denver Broncos, who arguably is one of the best defenses in all of football, and we saw what they did last week on Sunday Night Football. Literally, it was a 2-point conversion from keeping that game going in overtime that was knocked down by Nick Benito. So I'm happy with starting Jaden Daniels. You know, I'm obviously I've held on to him for this long. If that's the case, if you're a fantasy manager, I'm not expecting like top 5 production though. I think you have to not on top of the whole easing him back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree because I think that like rushing floor, like we were saying before, this is like the week that you really need to win. If you're like on the edge of the playoffs, on the edge of getting a bye in your fantasy championship, like you need to win this week most likely, and so you'd kind of want like at least 1 week just to see like exactly how healthy he is, how much they're actually willing to use him, particularly on the ground, particularly around the goal line. Like we know that this is a guy in college who took some huge hits. He is someone that will always kind of be looking for contact. And so yeah, I think it's really hard to know. He's someone that I would probably be looking to play. I think like Charlene has a really interesting question there. Are you starting him over Tyrod Taylor? Which is not a question we thought that we'd be asking ourselves at the start of the season.
Yeah. So Tyrod actually, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. He actually has a pretty enticing matchup here versus the Dolphins, who are 6th this past month in fantasy points allowed, and plays somewhat decently versus zone coverages. So that being the case, I'm not starting Tyrod Taylor over Jaden Daniels. That's lunacy, right, Nate?
Yeah, I would. I mean, number one, Jorge, you can answer this better than I can. Why bring him back? And I get it. You want to win football games, and I respect anybody's opinion when they say that's what they're here to do. They're supposed to play football. And sometimes I hate when a team is thinking of, well, let's be safe and prepare for the future and not hurt, the most talented player we have on the team for future seasons where we can be competitive. But it doesn't really seem real productive. And it sucks because you are tempted to want to start him because you know the ceiling. The problem is, I think that the majority of that ceiling is supported by the ability to run. And I don't know if I'm Washington or Jaden Daniels, if I want to put myself in that position where, I mean, you have to assume that that's not going to be an easy hit to take, and on just a traditional simple tackle on any scenario. So, yeah, I'm probably still not starting him over, or Tyrod Taylor over him, even though I think they're probably not going to be too far removed. But it's the feeling you get in your belly, and going into the playoffs where it's, really starting Tyrod Taylor, even though they'll probably both have about 16 to 19 points or whatever it is in your scoring.
Yeah, so to answer your question, why? Man, the second Joe Burrow said, I get paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game, anybody who's ever been injured this season who is at that opportunity, like you start. You basically, if you were hoping that you could get by and just not play for the rest of the year, he just ruined that for you. And let's face it, if they were so concerned about shutting everything down, they wouldn't have rushed back. They wouldn't have brought back Terry McLaurin. They wouldn't have brought back Noah Brown. Like they're assembling this team to finish strong, and you got to see what you got. You got to see what everything looks like when this team is humming on all cylinders. Because they, if they let go or trade Daron Payne, they're going to have $130 million in cap space. And they have one of the oldest rosters, so they need to rehaul a lot of things. And so they need to figure out, okay, who are we keeping, who are we getting rid of? We won't know that until we play everybody and see what they can do at their best. And so I think that's kind of the motivating factor for getting Jaden Daniels back on the field.
I mean, it makes sense. Hey, I respect it. Like I said, you give me a football player that wants to play it. I know I'm all for it, but I'm also selfish, and I want fantasy production from a person who I may or may not have for multiple seasons. This could be about me. I mean, it typically is for myself. But being late to the party, I didn't even get a chance to say hello to you guys and how you doing. I'm sorry. We celebrating. Did I see that Scampers said in the chat, and I missed this petition. We changed the meme to 16-17. Is that in reference to this weekend being 6-7 weekend that I didn't know existed until recently?
That would make sense. I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, pretty hip.
You're hip. You're with it.
I'm hip. Cool.
Isn't that Dr. Evil's line? I'm hip. I'm with it.
Yes.
That's an Austin Powers reference for those who still get that to this day. Ryan in the chat. All right, Emeka Egbuka or Alec Pierce, standard league. JT, what are your thoughts here?
Man, I'm such an Alec Pierce guy, but I think it's real hard not to play Egbuka or play Pierce over him. We're going to see what that weather's like in Florida. It's supposed to rain a lot of the day, but it's not supposed to be crazy windy. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to affect him. Daniel Jones, they keep saying that the leg is not affecting him, but I don't know how it's not. I don't know how having a broken leg is not affecting him.
Man has a broken leg.
He does. It looks like it is. I mean, you watch the games. They can say it all they want. He can't move in the pocket. He can't run, and his stats and his effectiveness have just absolutely plummeted the last couple of weeks. I'm playing Pierce everywhere, but I'm playing Egbuka over Pierce for sure.
So one thing here that I saw this morning that I think you're right with playing Egbuka, but I think we have to be concerned if you're a Baker Mayfield manager because Tristan Wirfs is looking like he's out today, the left tackle for the Buccaneers. And when you look at when Baker Mayfield has been under pressure, he is sixth in turnover worthy play percentage. Like this guy is no bueno when it comes to grading over at PFF. So there is some concern there. We saw what happened when they took on the Rams and all the pressure got to Baker Mayfield there. So there is a little bit of a hesitancy, but Godwin has fallen off. There's a lot to say about Chris Godwin that I won't get into now, but I think look at the number one target there on the team. It's Egbuka, so by default,
yeah. I don't want to say that I really going back to what GT was saying with Daniel Jones, but I did have a question. How excited would you be? Do you want to see? Because the next man up is Riley Leonard. I'm excited.
I was actually really pissed because I had a couple people jumped on real quick and picked him up in a few leagues that he was out there, and I didn't realize he was out there. And I was really mad at myself for not going again. I'm like, why didn't I have Riley Leonard on my bench? And then I look at my bench, I have like 12 backup quarterbacks already on my bench because I'm like, dang it. I'm like, that's why I didn't have them. So yeah, with that's the other thing. Anthony Richardson, broken orbital bone. Freak accident. I don't know if people remember it from a couple weeks ago, but was doing like a workout, like getting ready for the game, and like a band snapped to hit him in the face. Freak injury, broke a bone. So he's still on IR. So it's not like they can bring him in and see what happens. Like you're right. It goes to Riley Leonard, which is a team that thinks they have a shot at the Super Bowl. It's pretty hard to just turn around and hand it over to the rookie, as we saw what happened to Minnesota with Max Brosner last week. Those things don't always end up well.
No, it's a situation that, while I think for the long-term feel for the Colts, you would like to see him get a chance in a situation that wasn't, playoff bound, Super Bowl bound, hopeful, not week 14 going forward. But yeah, a lot of people, we were talking about that just in general conversation. And they're like, Richardson, I mean, if he really is hurt, how bad is that? And I go, well, he's on IR. And I still think that him on IR is probably better than him on the field as their starter. Like, given how well they've, competed this year, when you have a traditional quarterback, if you will, versus what we've seen over the past couple of years. Sorry.
My other thing is, as a Colts fan, and I hate to bring this up because this technically probably shouldn't affect what you're doing, but the Colts have not won in over a decade at Jacksonville. It is like their kryptonite. They cannot win at Jacksonville. It doesn't. They've been the top seed. Jacksonville's been the worst team in the league multiple times, and they cannot win there. 2014, like it's over a decade since they've won at Jacksonville. It's crazy. It shouldn't be that way, but it's just every game there ends up being wild. They somehow lose on a crazy field goal. We saw him in the preseason hit that monster field goal. There's a chance he hits a 70-yarder to win this game. Like that's the kind of stupid stuff that's going to happen. So I'm just so nervous as playing any Colts players. Obviously, you got to play JT, no doubt about that. But I'm so nervous playing anybody else with just how bad they've been playing lately and the curse of Jacksonville.
Yeah. All right, I'm slowly getting back in. I want to make sure I don't double skip, and I definitely don't want to skip Scampers questions because
we got another one from Ryan. So hold on before we get the Scampers. So
all right. Maybe same league, maybe different league, still standard league. Also, between Watson, Kareem Hunt, Alec Pierce, or Kyle Monangai in the flex. So Christian Watson, Kareem Hunt, Alec Pierce, or Kyle Monangai. Jorge.
So this Green Bay defense the past month has been actually pretty stingy all across the board, just to the quarterback and running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So plus you have DeAndre Swift competing for targets. I think I'm going to go Kareem Hunt just because of the goal line and touchdown upside here in this situation, because the volume is going to be on his side versus I'm expecting more of a split here in Chicago with Monangai and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, it's even though Pacheco's back, Hunt still led the backfield. I don't think that I want to be optimistic and think that the Chiefs will be successful against Houston. I don't know why I would want to. Definition of insanity is that Houston's going to do something different against against passing offenses in general. They've been so dominant, just overall, that they're going to keep it on the ground. But that harkens back to if the Chiefs sometimes do what they have been known to do, which is in situations where they want to make a statement, they try to come out and push the ball for at least half, and then the second half they usually ease up because Andy Reid's a fair coach and doesn't want to, embarrass the other team or whatever he says. F that shit. Do what you can. But I think I'm probably on the side of Hunt as well.
Monangai and then Hunt. Don't you? I mean, I'm right there. I'm like Hunter Monangai in standard. I think you got to play the running back. I think they're like, I think they're neck and neck to me on playing them. You're trying to hope you pick the right guy that gets the touchdown, right? You're hoping because I think both those guys could score a touchdown. So it's like you're just hoping to get the right guy. I don't know if Monangai has another 100-yard 2-touchdown performance against the Packers, but I think you're hoping that he maybe gets the goal line carry. So if you're playing Monangai, I lean him slightly over Hunt, but I think they're like neck and neck. I would play one of those two guys over the wideout in a standard.
All right. Let's get to Mr. Scamper's question. Half PPR start 2. Charbonnet versus Atlanta and Vidal Hampton versus Philly. So I was looking at this matchup yesterday, and it is eerily scary just how close fantasy point production wise, opportunities on the ground in terms of explosiveness and breakaway run rate that Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker have. The upside here is Charbonnet has the goal line, the inside the 5 percentage, which you like, obviously for scoring opportunities. But it's really literally between the fives, Walker, and then it's Charbonnet where it counts in scoring situations. And so both are getting, I believe Walker in the past month is averaging like 11.8.5 PPR, Charbonnet 10.9. So I like that a lot, but whether it's Vidal or Hampton, no Jalen Carter speaks volumes tomorrow versus Philadelphia. And with Justin Herbert being injured and the tackle situation being what it is, you'd have to imagine they're going to lean on the running game. So I'd probably go Vidal Hampton combo over Charbonnet.
Which one? I think, if you had to choose between, I'm guessing he can't, unless he plays in a league where they say you get.
Or he's flexing one and starting the other.
Oh, I guess that's true.
That's why I took it. I don't know if that's how.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I didn't read, actually. That's a lesson to all people out there. If you read first before you open your mouth, usually better things will happen. I am contrary to that, I guess, because it does say start to. So yeah, taking the Vidal and Hampton side. Jorge, thank you for leading this.
You betcha. You betcha.
I'm
you
getting
betcha.
there.
It's
Slowly.
all right. I hear you, man. I made a real strong gin and tonic last night, and I am. Let's just say I have a lot of Gatorade going on behind the scenes here. But let's see here. We got N712 Hockey 2. Okay, that's the new one. Welcome. Hey guys, clinched playoffs weeks ago, but I'm
Yay hockey
for the first. Yay! What'd you just say? Yay for hockey?
I said yay hockey.
Yay hockey.
Let's do that hockey.
Let's do that hockey.
Fun.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you can catch our hockey podcast on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern around the ice with JT, Aaron, and Toast Clark. Okay. Anyhow, so back to the question. Clinched playoffs is playing for a first-round bye, have limited flex options and a PPR as Devin Neal, John Mechie, Donna Mitchell, or can go to waivers if you guys have potentially a guy in mind. Man, let me see here real quickly.
This is Mitchell for me.
Yeah,
I think like it's. I don't want to like rest my like playoff hopes on like a Jets wide receiver if I can help it, but this is someone that has seen consistent targets over the last 3 weeks, and I think the thing that we also need to remember is that you're seeing a much more kind of stable passing game now that you've got Tyrod Taylor in there compared to Justin Fields. You know that he's going to be throwing the ball kind of like 25, 30 times a game. It's not going to necessarily be spectacular. We shouldn't expect kind of what we saw last week, but he's seeing a good kind of like 25-30% target share there. There's obviously very clear opportunities because of Garrett Wilson obviously not being there. Mitchell is kind of he to me is the clear one there, and I think he should be fairly solid again today.
Yeah, the Dolphins have been pretty easy against the pass over the last 5-6 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, bottom 10, however you want to look at that. And you're right, Donnie Mitchell just last week alone, and I don't want to use a 1 week sample like you mentioned to secure your first round bye, but 36% target share, almost a 60% air yard share, 50% first read share, all the factors that even if he doesn't replicate, but 75% of that's still a great flex play going into a situation where, let's be honest, you can kind of rest a little bit easy, but still, I'm Mitchell as well. JT?
I'm probably slightly leaning Mitchell in PPR. I do like Devin Neal a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's going to get a ton of workload. I'm playing him in a ton of spots. Maybe this is just me a little overthinking it, but he's going to get all the carries. He's going to get some work. I also just love Devin Neal as a prospect, so I want him to have a good end of the season. So the Saints are like, yeah, this guy is our guy, and not draft a running back next year, because I do like Devin Neal a ton. Man, that's a toughie. Upside, I'll say this, like we talk about on the show all the time. Upside, I'm taking Mitchell, as I think, the long touchdown, big play opportunity is there. As a Colts fan, I've seen myself get burned by Mitchell many a time. So I do like Devin Neal. If you're like projected to win and you think you're in a pretty good spot, I'm maybe leaning Neal as a nice floor, thinking he's going to probably at least get me in a PPR league 10 points. But if I'm like behind and I'm like, man, I need like a blow up performance, like we've seen Mitchell can do that. He can get you the 7 for 115 and one super long touchdown. So I will say that I probably Mitchell upside, Devin Neal for just like, if I want to like, okay, I want some points, I know I'm going to get some, I'm leaning Devin Neal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's crazy how things can change. Tampa Bay had a good defense entering the year. really underrated. And then the past month, when it comes to points allowed to quarterbacks, number one, which not great, unless you have the quarterback that's facing the Buccaneers, right? Running backs, ninth most fantasy points allowed. Wide receivers, the fourth most fantasy points allowed. So, I mean, if there ever was a Devin Neal game where just like a little bit of volume can go a long way, this would be it. And yes, you to what you were saying, Nate, as far as the small sample size with Adonai Mitchell. I mean, for weeks everybody was like John Mechie, and it's like, well, Adonai Mitchell has actually been targeted more. He just hasn't been reeling them in. So it's really a boom situation here. I think I'm with JT. If you want floor, Devin Neal. If you want upside, then Adonai Mitchell.
It's a nice problem to have is when you've prefaced that with saying have limited flex options, and I think that the excitement
those are way too good flex options compared to some of the flex options I'm looking at myself this week, and I'm like, so at least you have somebody who has upside in your play. You're not. I'm playing Amadai Zacharias in a lot of flex spots and just praying. So you're all right.
Yeah, we got Andrew in the chat. Welcome. Good morning. Need to start two in flex one: McLaurin, Watson, Pierce, and Aaron Jones. He goes on to say he's leaning benching Pierce because of the weather and playing Jones against Washington. I like McLaurin and Aaron Jones. I think that's two of the weakest spots. The Vikings are actually kind of really tough against wide receivers, but I don't. Again, after last week, beating Patrick Surtain for 96 yards and a touchdown, I am a very firm believer, and yes, I don't think this is me being biased either, even though I have this jersey right there. That McLaurin is very quarterback or defensive back proof. So yeah, McLaurin and Aaron Jones. Washington is just a C for the running back position.
Yeah, that would be my two as well. With, I guess.
Oh, and Watson, right?
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah,
and then the flexing one. That's my decision is going between Watson and Pearson. Well, I get the feeling that I'll be let down more with Watson when the expectation for at least I saw that game, when he finally got a 20% target share, the excitement was there. And I was like, great, this is what we can expect out of Green Bay. And Jonathan, I know that you watch more than I do. And the diversification of passes is always a good thing for an offense to keep defenses guessing, but it sucks for fantasy purposes, and I want some consistency, and I would like to see a clear-cut one, and that's what I just don't trust is that boom bust type scenario. So I'm right there with Pierce as well.
It's crazy. I know we're fading Pierce here, and I know we've gotten a lot of Pierce questions, but one thing I did not realize this past month is that he is tied with Michael Pittman in first read percentage. So it's not like it's just the Michael Pittman show anymore where he's the number one target. Pierce has really been incorporated more into this offense and becoming somebody who does a lot. And then his first down per route read higher than Michael Pittman. Fantasy points per game higher than Michael Pittman. Fantasy points per route run.
Jorge, I mean, you're hitting it there. Pierce, throughout his career for the Colts has just been the deep threat guy. And you're like, hey, can I get 2 for 80 and a touchdown? Hopefully, they've actually used him in a ton of ways this year. He's actually finally getting crossing routes, deep routes. It's not just last year with Anthony Richardson. It was like run a go, run a go, run a go, run a go, which is what all he did last year was run a go route. They're using him a lot more. So I like Pierce, and I'm using him a lot. In this one, I'm a little worried, like I said, because of the rain, just because he does run a lot of deep balls. But they have worked him in a lot more to the detriment of Josh Downs, I should say, which I love him too. But they've used him a lot more in those medium routes, doing everything else. He is actually not just the one-off guy anymore, at least the last month of the season. So I do like him more. Him and Watson, I feel like they're those two guys you're just like, are they going to win me the week or lose me the week? Because that's how they kind of be. They're so they're like almost the same guy on a different team, I feel like. Yeah, so that one is tough because those guys to me are so close. I lean Pierce over Watson, but that's just my Colts fandom, I think, and the fact that I have Pierce in a million leagues, and I have Watson, but I never want to play him because of the boomer bust, which is kicking me in the teeth the last 3 or 4 weeks as I keep sitting Watson. He keeps playing well, so that is tough. But yeah, Pierce, for people that don't realize, like, he has become a much, much bigger part of the Colts offensive system as opposed to the guy that just ran wind sprints last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting what you say, because as I was looking at the question, I was like, they are actually such similar players in fantasy now, because they're two guys that have always been like fairly boom bust, but actually both of them have been so much more consistent over the past month than we have kind of ever expected from them. I was just looking at like Pierce's yardage totals over the last 6 weeks or so, and he's hit like 60 yards in all of them bar one. Like, this is, and he's seeing kind of like consistent targets in there as well. And it's the exact same with Christian Watson, where he is the one that kind of has moved that slight bit up for in that Packers wide receiver room. It was always kind of Dobbs that was the one that I was kind of most confident with, but actually over the last few weeks, it has been Christian Watson that has been seeing the kind of highest target share. Plus, he gives you those big deep shots. The thing that I'm slightly worried about with the Packers this week is you're adding another receiver into the mix for Jaden Reed, who is now back, and they love to get him touches. The question is, like, how much is he actually going to be used? And basically adding another receiver into that, does that change the sort of the packages that they use and sort of where Watson is used? It's really tight between those two.
I will tell you, for guys that are betting guys, Alec Pierce over 40 yards receiving used to be my all-time favorite throw-in on same-game parlay bets. He's minus 236 at 40-plus yards. Used to be able to get that at damn near even money or plus money every week. So that tells you kind of where his consistency is. I mean, his 50-plus is minus 140. And that was just like, oh, you need an extra leg to like bump up that parlay. I'm taking Alec Pierce plus 40 yards because you're like, hey, if he gets one big catch, I'm golden. That tells you how much the books are adjusting to him. That the fact that now a 40-yard catch for him, 3 weeks ago was plus 110, and now it's minus 236. As he's averaging more yards per game than Michael Pittman, like Jorge said. So he is definitely a guy that he went from a fringe, like, bye week, I gotta find a guy, throw in Alec Pierce, to like kind of need to think about playing Alec Pierce in your flex like every week. Or if you're in a deep league and you have to start like 3 or 4 wide receivers, like a couple leagues I'm in those leagues, and Alec Pierce is in my starting lineup every week now.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I understand. We year in and year out have a tendency to hold on to truths, if you will. And Alec Pierce, the truth last year was, man, if this is the week that, like you said, he catches fire, you'll want to put him in. And every other week is just kind of peptide or Pepsid. Peptides are something different.
Proteins, yep.
Yep.
Every time I think of Alec Pierce, like in the past before the season,
peptides?
I just think of Dumb and Dumber when they're in the car.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
running.
I feel like
I'm running at an
rate.
incredible rate. Like, that's why I used to think of Alec Pierce all the time, just sprinting up and down the field, just running. That's all he did in the
And then running back.
Run. Yeah. So that was
Running back
always
to the
my
next
meme
step.
in my
Oh my
head
God, yeah.
thinking about him. Yeah, exactly. But he's actually doing more than that now. But that's what I always used to think of Alec Pierce, was just like sprinting up and down the field.
Now let's get to a DST question. Brian says, Bucks, Chiefs, Packers, or Eagles defense? I'm leaning Bucks. I am leaning Packers. The Packers are very stingy across the board to every single position. You're down Roma Dunze. You're thinking DJ Moore is going to step up, but can you trust DJ Moore from week to week? I had a question the other day that I was asking myself. Yes, I talked to myself, and I have in one of my leagues a flex conundrum each and every week: DJ Moore or Jordan Addison. And if I'm thinking like rest of season, who am I going to have the most faith in? And I'm leaning Jordan Addison. So, so where I'm going with this is that that's my fear for this Packers team being DJ Moore. Then I think you're in a good spot rolling with the Packers. Anybody disagree here?
As the resident Illinois person along here, anybody who's a Bears fan is like always nervous whenever they play the Packers, because even if they do win, it's rare. It's always a low scoring, super close game. I do not expect the Bears to just blow up offensively this game. Now the Packers, for decent defensive start leagues, I will say this: I have a ton of the Packers. They have not been a great scorer, depending on your league scoring. They've been a good defense, but for fantasy, they have not been a great scoring defense. I probably lean them this week as well in this game. If the Bears pull this off, it would be a monster Bears win. But also, if they pull this off, I feel like it's going to be a real low-scoring close game. And this could be a turnover-heavy game, which if your league gives pretty high points for sacks and takeaways, I would lean the Packers in the fact that I think the Packers can get a lot of sacks with Parsons and possible interceptions with Caleb Williams. So a little bit of a lean on depending on your scoring, but I know the Bucs seem like the play because New Orleans is so bad. But I probably lean the Packers 1, actually, and I probably lean the Chiefs 2. I think that's going to be another super close, low-scoring game, defensive contest. So if you get points per game versus sack turnover differences, that would adjust it for me, because if you're on a league that gets way more points if you give up low-scoring games, then I just think the Chiefs and Packers games have the most chance to be like in the 20s or 30s scoring wise, as opposed to those other games.
Let's get to the next question here from Jay Rogers too. First of all, do you all know why the hell every single username for YouTube now has like weird, like hyphenated, like either it's numbers or letters or stuff? It's not just their username. The past few weeks I've noticed.
I think they're like making you do that now as more people get on there. I noticed some things where I'm like, I look at my normal username and it's like, it looks like one thing, but then it has a bunch of extra numbers at the end, like officially. And if you don't go change it, like it, yeah, just, but I think that they do make you add like a hyphen with some numbers in there officially, unless you change it on your page, which ask me how to do that, because I have no freaking clue how you go to change that, but I know you can do it.
All right. Jonathan, can you read off, or Nate, I guess somebody read off the question real quick.
I can read, yeah. It needs two wide receivers out of this group between Cortland Sutton, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Deebo Samuel, Jaden Reed, and Adonai Mitchell. Jonathan, any one stand out like as a surefire one initially for you?
There's a lot in the same tier here for me. I really like Katie Mitchell this week. I know this is wild, but I think I'm probably saying Cortland Sutton. I think we've seen the last couple of weeks a little bit more consistency over the last 2 games. So I think I'm going Sutton.
All right, and JT, number 1, I guess, is Sutton 1 for you, and if not, give me 2. Who would you start?
I'm probably going Sutton as well here against Vegas.
Good.
Man, I guess I just kind of thought Watson and Pierce are like so close to me. I lean Pierce just slightly because I have way more shares of him, so I'm hoping he plays better. But I probably lean Pierce. I've talked about all the time. I can't play Jaden Reed right off the injury, plus knowing what he was before. I like him. He's back, but I can't just throw him right in my lineup. Debo, again, the tough matchup. I like McLaren much more than Debo in that game. And then AD Mitchell, I feel like we're going to get a ton of this question, and I understand why. Watson, Pierce, and AD Mitchell, I think, are just like all right next to each other, and they're like damn near the same player this week. So I think it is going to be a tough one. You're going to flip a coin. If you have a bunch of leagues with a bunch of these guys, maybe mix them up, which I'm terrible about doing. I tend to go all or nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play that guy in every league or not at all, and then I get burned. I'd probably lean to me slightly Sutton Pierce, but man, Watson, Pierce, Mitchell, I feel like is almost a gut call this week because I feel like they're all right together.
And don't assume that the normal people who were on here that have one or two leagues or anything close to the degenerate that me, Jorge, is where we can diversify our funds. And it's like, well, I do have 13 leagues with this exact same scenario. So in 7, I'll do one. In 6, I'll do another. And then at least, hedge my bets. These people are living and dying by their one league that they've been in for 20 years. And they need your one answer, not your portfolio breakdown of how you can be a hedge fund manager. I joke because I think we all.
You're correct, sir. You're correct.
None of us, nobody in the chat, nobody here playing in one league anymore. Everybody's got a dozen. It was Carrie was watching a podcast of Jason Kelsey's wife where she had, I think that's who it was, podcast, had Michael Bublé on. And Michael Bublé, if you're listening, Mike, big fantasy football fan. And even said that he would trade his Grammys to win his fantasy football league, like 100% serious. And so it led down to where another person was talking celebrity-wise, and they mentioned that they were in 9 leagues. I think it was Bublé. I think he said he's in 7 leagues or 9 leagues. And Carrie just laughed, and she's like, only 7 or 9 leagues. And I was like, yeah, we know how that is. So. All right.
Jorge, I think I sent you that it was like that short video on Facebook, or I sent it on Instagram or something to you.
Yeah.
And the guy comes in, he's like setting up all his drafts. His wife's like, she's like, oh, so can we go? He's like, no. I got Keeper League, Dynasty League, Redraft League next week, then that one. And she's like, how many leagues are you in? He's like 8. And she's like, 8. And I said, my girlfriend is the one that sent it to me. And she was like, ha, 8. And was not joking. She was like, she thinks 8's bad. She was just looking at me with the meanest look ever. And I just sent that to you, and I was like, Jorge, I'm like, this is my life right here. It's so funny. It's I remember when I was that 8 league guy, and I was like, whoa, this is way too many leagues. I need to cut at least 4. I miss those 8 league days.
I kind of do as well. There are certain times when I realize that I have just way too much going on. But at the same time, I tell myself every year, all right, dummy, you're going to calm this down, and then you're just going to play in a couple. And before you know it, you get the itch. You can't join. Can't turn people down when they ask you to, play in the league with
them. You got to be a good
rude.
Friend. Somebody says, hey, I need you in the league. You're like, yeah, you feel like you got to get in there. All right, I'll help you out. I'll take that last spot that 5 people in a row dropped. I'll take that team. I'll do it.
Exactly. All right. So before we real quick on this one, Darren Waller, Harold Fannin, Ryan already has Devon Achane playing, so nervous about playing 2 in the same game. It is a standard league. Jonathan, Waller, Harold Fannin.
I think I'm going Fannin here. He's just seen really consistent targets. They're both kind of low ceiling plays. I mean, you kind of hope you're at that point in tight end where you're kind of just hoping for a touchdown. But I think at least with Fannin, he has seen kind of more consistent targets. Actually, kind of throughout the year, he's kind of seen really consistent number of targets. So I think there's at least a slightly safer floor with Fannin for me.
So, and we'll use this as a pivot because it's a similar question here, and I wanted to jump right into thank you. Super chat, super user, super question. So definitely takes priority right now. And they have a question that also goes to Darren Waller, Harold Fannin. So jumping off what Jonathan said, is anyone leaning the opposite direction, or are we kind of in agreement?
I love Harold Fannin. You look at fantasy points per route run. He actually, the past month, higher metric than Brock Bowers, believe it or not. That is mind-boggling. You look at the past 3 weeks, 11 targets, 7 receptions, a touchdown, 83 yards. Like, I think Shador knows who he's locking onto going forward. So it's tough. And again, this is a tough matchup here. Cleveland and Tennessee, both respective teams are stingy against tight ends, but give me the volume with Fannin.
And I would agree with that. But this is probably the crux of the question is pick 3 of these in a PPR between Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Emeka Egbuka, and why am I drawing a blank with Wilson? Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson.
Yeah. Good Lord. So pick 3 of those guys. So Jorge?
So my 3 would be Waddle, Collins, Michael Wilson.
Same here.
JT?
So,
I'll go with you guys on that. I think that's really similar. I'm a Fannin over Waller guy all day today. Shador likes Fannin. He's going to go to him. I like that matchup. I'm going Fannin in a lot of leagues, but that's a close one. Those wide receivers, man, with no Marvin Harrison Jr. and no Dortch. God, if the Cardinals are going to do anything, Michael Wilson has to touch the ball a lot. Him or McBride has to set a new tight end record with like 20 catches for like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. They got to do something. So I think we're going to see Wilson just get fed target share. He's going to get a ton in this game, I think.
Yeah. I hope so, at least for some of my fantasy livelihood. That's for sure.
Yeah, you look.
We saw it a couple of weeks ago as well.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Very good. Yeah, I was just going to say, you look at the rankings and points per game since week 10. Nico Collins, number 2 wide receiver in all of fantasy. Michael Wilson right there at number 7. So I love that. And then the Waddle, really comes down to Egbuka or Waddle. The situation in Tampa Bay with no left tackle and Baker Mayfield just playing poorly under pressure just makes me lean going with a healthy Tua, which are words that it's kind of hard to put together sometimes. So yeah, give me Waddle in that situation.
Yeah. Egbuka is like he's such a frustrating guy to have in fantasy now, because obviously you've seen the upside from those first 4 or 5 weeks. But I was looking over the last 6 games. He's seeing almost 10 targets per game, but he's only hit 60 yards once across that period. So it's just the usage and the production are just not lining up at the moment. And seen the stat about his catchable target rate coming down over the last few weeks as well compared to the start of the season. You don't feel as though you can kind of confidently bench him just because of what we've seen he can be. But equally, he's a guy that is actually really holding back your fantasy team because of those lack of big plays.
Yeah. So Waddle, Collins, Wilson, that is the consensus, and Harold Fannin Jr. Again, thank you for the super user. Obviously, it means a ton, and more importantly, we do it for free, but at the same time, we greatly appreciate it, and I hope you win more than anybody else in the chat, except for our friends and everybody else. Get honest.
We put you on though because you're kind enough in the season of giving to be so generous. So yes, thank you.
And Charlene, we did not miss your IDP question. Here it is on cue, Jorge. Good job.
Yep. So Keyshawn Nixon, I'm ruling him out. It really comes down to Jordan Battle and Cooper DeJean. The problem with Jordan Battle is that his box snaps the past month have been right up there with Geno Stone, and we've seen Geno Stone for the Bengals actually have more success fantasy-wise. So give me the slot cornerback here for the Philadelphia Eagles, who's actually fantasy-wise has been performing heads and shoulders above these other two guys, where there's no competition for box snaps. He's dominating the slot cornerback position. He's playing in the box also more than any other cornerback. So JT, one of the things we've talked about, and I think we'll probably talk about in the season, what have we learned thing episode for Shoot the Gap, is slot cornerback, man. Like last couple seasons, it's been like an emerging trend. Now those are really taking over as far as like if you don't get a box safety, like get yourself a good slot cornerback who also plays snaps in the box, right?
Absolutely. With everybody spreading out, getting more wideouts, going more nickel heavy coverage all the time, having that slot corner is like a combo between an outside weak side linebacker and a strong safety in one kind of. So those positions for his fantasy can be really. Nixon, he really kills you because he's moved more outside. Where he absolutely crushed in IDP was the leagues where you could get return yards. And when he was like the full-time returner, he was the cheat code. It's not been that way this year with him as so much as he's not a full-time returner all the time. I agree with you, Jorge. I'm going with the guy that's been in the slot getting most of those starts, or at least snaps.
All right. Let's get to our next one, shall we, Nate?
I believe so. I'll let you.
All right. So South Sea 7765. All right. We need one flex: Tyler Warren, Brian Thomas, or Troy Franklin. Warren. I'm assuming this is PPR. This Colts matchup is screaming for one of those tight ends just to go off. So give me Tyler Warren in this matchup. It's for Brian Thomas Jr. It's really coincidentally been the Jacoby Myers show in Jacksonville as of late, and then Troy Franklin. Both Nate and JT, I think you guys will say Pat Bryant's coming on strong, man. So it's kind of hard to ignore what's going on there. So for me, Tyler Warren. Sorry,
it is close for me as well. I think lean Tyler Warren a little bit, but Franklin is about it. I mean, the consistency wise, he's right there, low end wide receiver 3 on the season. Both the two positives that I want. He's second in deep targets, 8th in red zone targets. If you're looking for a floor stabilizer, those are two things that I do believe can help give you that ceiling upside as well as maintain the solid floor. Last time, here's a good thing, is last time he faced the Raiders, he scored. I mean, he had 9 targets, 40 yards. So the yardage wasn't there, but he did get in the end zone. So I could see a case for Troy Franklin over Tyler Warren, but I kind of have those really close neck and neck. Hey, Dave. Morning.
What's going on with the lads?
Where's Kitty?
We got Jurassic World today.
Ah, okay.
So we have season passes to Universal Studios, so we always get some different mug when we go.
Very nice. All right, thank you, South C7765. Appreciate it. Let's see. We got Charlie and another question. Need to flex to Alec Pierce. That is a check for me. Brenton Strange, Barner, Gainwell. So Gainwell, even though he's not getting as many snaps inside the 5, he actually has the better scoring success rate than Tyler Warren. Granted, you increase your sample size, obviously efficiency goes down. That's just the name of the game. But Barnard, tough matchup here versus the Falcons. The Brenton Strange, that's the one right there. I think I go Pearson Strange.
Dave, you want to shot? Welcome in.
I like the goal line work of Gainwell. I mean, he's getting limited carries. I get it. He's very efficient with it. Still catches passes out of the backfield. So, yeah, I'm not expecting massive numbers, but for a floor, I do like Gainwell. And Pierce obviously is the other one for me. That's the standout.
And this is where we're at in week 14. Is that poor Charlene and myself and many others are making that decision where our flex options are the tight ends that we know are at least going to be on the field at some point, and that it does go into, I will say, draft strategy. The tight end position, while being pooped on, does provide some nice stability late in the season when you just need someone that's going to be on the field at least and run some routes. But yeah, good luck, Charlene. Of course, we're rooting for you. All right, Scampers has a question. We'll stick with Charlene. We'll back there because she needs to in Superflex, I'm assuming. Safe assumption. Between CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Jacoby Brissett.
Give me Stroud and Brissett.
I know.
The Chiefs have been really I know you hate to hear this, but the Chiefs have been pretty generous to quarterbacks. And Brissett is Brissett, right? Jordan Love, he shows up on the big games, but then, even though this is a division rival, I feel like to what JT you were saying earlier, these games are always tight and potentially low scoring. So this isn't Aaron Rodgers, Packer quarterback, going against the Bears and owning them. This is a little tougher matchup here. So give me Stroud and Brissett.
I'm going to go Stroud and Love with this one, man. Not that I don't trust Brissett, but right now at wide receiver, they're currently playing the janitor. So, yeah, I don't think there's is Harrison. Harrison's definitely out and Wilson's out, right?
Yeah, Wilson's playing. Harrison's out.
No.
Dortch is out.
Oh, Wilson's playing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wilson's in. Dortch is out. Harrison's out.
And McBride is in. So.
Yeah,
I mean, you got McBride. I get it, but that's tough when you've got a not 100% healthy Michael Wilson as your number one option.
Yeah, I worry about just the Rams defense at least a little bit more than I do, I think, for the Bears as a whole. So, I mean, and I agree with you, Ori. The Chiefs have not been great against the quarterback position. I would go Stroud and Love, hoping that just the amount of weapons they have in Green Bay can support the stability that you want, especially as your QB2.
Yeah, I think with Love, it's basically that the issue that you've had with him in fantasy is Josh Jacobs taking the touchdowns rather than Love, because the passing yardage actually hasn't really been that high this year. He's only been above. He hasn't actually been above 250 passing yards in any of the last 4 weeks. So the only reason, and he doesn't really rush that much. So the only reason that you're kind of getting those fantasy points is through touchdowns, and that's the reason why he was top 3 QB last week, was because he threw 4 touchdowns. So I guess that's the thing that you're kind of pinning your hopes on with Love, but yeah. I think
I'm agreeing with you. Love was 234, 4 touchdowns last week, so monster week.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the 3 weeks before that, 139 yards, 0 touchdowns, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 176 yards, 0 touchdowns, 273 yards, 0 touchdowns. If you play Love, you're hoping for me, I'm thinking this has a 185 yards, and you need him to throw 2 touchdowns to win it for you. That's where I'm at. I hate to say quarterbacks are touchdown dependent, but it feels like Love is one of those guys. So you're hoping he scores, but I think it's a low scoring game. I think this is a battle it out. Chance Jacobs gets 1, maybe 2, and this could be a 17-13 game. I'm probably going Stroud Brissett, but I know how Charlene feels, because I'm like Stroud Brissett, Tua, and T-Law in 20 leagues. I'm like those 4 guys. I'm trying to decide who I want to play in every one of those leagues. So I know where she's at there. I'm probably slightly Brissett Stroud, even though the Brissett matchup probably seems like the worst one. I just think he's gonna have to throw in that game.
Yeah, I will admit I know that how good Brissett has been when you just look at the actual fantasy numbers, and obviously that can't happen if you don't have good production or at least good volume. But to the extent where I didn't know it was almost 160 pass attempts over the last 4 weeks. Actually, it is. It's almost 180 pass attempts over the last 4 weeks. While the pass percentage versus run percentage I knew was weighted, I didn't know that there was that many opportunities. Like the pace of play for Arizona has been much greater to have that ability to get that many pass attempts off. So, you know what? I'm going to say I can be swayed, and I'm going to go Stroud and Brissett as well, because I think Charlene needs she needs a consensus. She needs us all to be together and pull through. That's what she's looking for. Camaraderie.
There you go. Let's see here. Charlene, you just keep coming with the questions. Love it. Daniel Jones or Bo Nix? I swear I get this wrong every week. Man, so I know this is going to sound like super expert analysis, but like the guy with the broken leg versus the guy without a broken leg. I mean,
seriously, that's legitimately what I was going to say. I was like, I don't want. JT touched on it and expounded perfectly on Daniel Jones and how he's looked since the injury, and it's not Saban. I mean, the likelihood that Bo Nix doesn't outperform Daniel Jones in my eyes is slim, but I understand each week when you get it wrong, it starts to build it, get into your brain a little bit and think you're going to pick wrong. But all right, we'll just go around. I say Nix. David?
Nix. Daniel Jones has cooled off recently, and so has Jonathan Taylor too. So I don't know. They're not the high power offense that they were, for the first, say, 8 weeks of the season. Not saying they're doing bad, but yeah, I just don't think Daniel Jones is playing at the elite level he was earlier. So give me Bo Nix.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm going Nix as well here. The one thing that I just wish with Nix is that we'd see a little bit more on the ground, kind of like we saw last year. I mean, it's he's just not. He hasn't rushed more than like 5 times in like 4 of the last 5 weeks. So that's the one thing that I just wish was happening a little bit more for fantasy. But as you guys have said, he's someone that I would feel better about being in my lineup rather than Daniel Jones.
All right. Let's get to Mr. Scampers here. Half PPR need 2. Vidal versus Philly, Shaheed at Atlanta, Bam Knight versus Rams. Sidebar, why the hell is Darnold throwing to the speedster they traded? Why isn't he throwing to the speedster they traded for? Because he's trying to make JSN's life a lot easier by taking the top off of defenses and giving more over the field throws. The JSN would be my thought process. But for me, it is Vidal and Bam Knight. Give me the running backs here.
I would agree as well.
The answer is never Bam Knight. The answer is never Bam Knight. Just for future reference.
I was just waiting for it in anticipation for Dave to say it.
No.
The fun answer is
angers me.
Well, yeah.
Fine, Zonovan Knight, if you want to go with his real name. We can't call him Bam Knight. We'll call him Zonovan Knight.
I was really hoping
you can call him Santa
Claus,
but
come back.
Yeah, you're not playing him. Never playing him.
I mean, but in this scenario, I hate to say, I am. Sometimes we're forced with situations and scenarios we don't want to make.
I mean, he's a top 24 running back the past month. It's kind of hard not to play him versus Shaheed, who's not getting any targets. I mean, and then we got Vidal with no Jalen Carter tomorrow night. I mean, it just, even with Amari and Hampton, even if they did split duties, it still looks like a good matchup with Philadelphia for the running game. So,
yeah. Sorry, Scampers, that
they didn't need to throw last week, though. I mean, what they beat Minnesota by? It was like, 36-0 or something? And there was no reason to throw the ball to anyone in Seattle.
Yeah, they didn't need to do much. All they had to do is just let Brosmer ruin the game, and they could sit back and pretty much get by. It didn't take much.
So disclosure, I didn't watch that game, and I just heard of all the people just making fun of Brosmer. Is this one where it's like, oh, you have to go back and watch because of how epically he was failing, or just don't even do it? Don't even let that imagery get into your mind, Jorge.
It was exactly what you would like. The reality of the situation is he wasn't prepared for prime time, and when they threw him into this scenario, everything that goes through your mind, imagine if your first real like exposure to having the opportunity and you can't process the defense fast enough, the speed of the game was just, it was too much, and everything, it started to crumble around. The stability beneath them and around them just crumbled faster than the gradual burn, and it didn't slow down. Like it didn't, like in the third quarter, it wasn't where he finally got a grasp, was like, all right, let's control this and maintain and manage. It just continued to snowball, and that's probably why I thought it was so bad, is that there wasn't that stoppage where it's like, oh, he made that one, a big throw, or had a great third down conversion that you think there's light at the end of the tunnel. It just kept getting worse. And I feel bad for the guy. I hate that, but I really don't care that much, honestly. I do care about Jay being with us, though, and doing that. And we really appreciate you. I appreciate meeting you at the expo and having to chat every, Sunday. Hopefully you're doing really good. And you've made this season awesome for us, honestly. I love seeing the same people, new people year over year. And what are you shaking your head at?
I'm reading Scamper's question, which we'll get to next because it's utterly ridiculous. But no, Jamie, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, like Nate's saying, it was a pleasure meeting you at the expo. Hope to see you again next year. Folks, if you haven't already, head over to his Instagram and YouTube channel, Just Ballin' with Jay. Fantastic artwork, football artwork. It is one of a kind. So thank you for the donation. It means a lot to us.
Jorge, I was going to say, Jay also put up something. He said, are you guys worried about Daniel 10-cent pieces health?
What the hell, man?
I
just gave you all this credit, and then now you just
he said, I actually
10-cent pieces.
Danny Dimes, 10-cent pieces. I'm worried, man. I'm worried. If you're watching the games, he does not look right. He doesn't right now. He's like, he just can't move in the pocket. If he get any kind of pressure, he just can't step to the side. He looks, I know they're like, oh, it's not an issue. He's fine. It's an issue. You can see it. Every time he gets tackled, gets him off the ground, he's kind of like half limping. I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous. I was cautiously optimistic about the Colts coming in this year, even though I trashed Danny Dimes. I will tell you this. I have to throw this in. I'm sorry. I'm going long-winded here. I woke up yesterday in the best mood ever. I had a dream. I was at the Super Bowl, and the Colts won the Super Bowl over the Eagles. In my dream, I'm at the Super Bowl, and I turned around and I told everybody with me, I apologize to Daniel Jones. He was the man. I trashed him all year, and I said he's not the guy, and he won us a title. I was so happy. My girlfriend woke up. She was like, why are you like got a smile?
Crying.
Like,
yeah,
we just won the Super Bowl in my dream. We won the Super Bowl with Danny Dimes. So I just had to bring that up, but I am super freaking nervous about the rest of the season with him not healthy. I just had to throw that in.
Well, you know what you could add to your collection that would make your Indianapolis Colts room? I do have this nice NFL football for sale.
Look at that.
Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, if you'd like to.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I've turned this into my own personal eBay store now. Jorge,
I don't have any Andrew Luck.
I would not sell
that.
I would not. I would.
What, you want to buy it?
No, I don't want to do that. I would want to do that to you.
I'm interested in it.
Obviously. All right, let's answer.
Perfect.
So you know how like there's Mr. Irrelevant in the NFL draft? Well, these two gentlemen here over the past month have been Mr. Irrelevant in fantasy football. Trent Sherfield or Jalen Brooks, half PPR. This is, come on.
Scammers.
Do you want to know?
That's the question of the day. He wins. Mr. Scammers hands down. That's the question of the day.
Do you want to know how many receptions, targets, and fantasy points both of them had the past month? John,
is it zero?
To guess? The answer is zero. Zeros all around. Stop it, Mr. Scampers. Come on now. We got Aldo Gaviria, 3181, half PPR pick one. Jacoby, Debo, Devin Neal, Juwan Johnson. Give me Jacoby Myers. He's been the target guy.
It is going to be Jacoby Myers for me. Parker Washington, I believe, is probably not going to play, which really sucks because One, mostly the reason it sucks is because I have him and I need him to play in a super deep league. It's not about my love for Jacksonville or my care and concern. But Devin Neal's really close for me as well. JT alluded to it earlier. The usage, just the volume alone, should be in his good graces. But I think I'll go Jacoby, then Devin Neal. JT, are you in agreement there? Or are you leaning Neal over?
Yeah, that's real close for me. I'd probably slightly go Jacoby. He just, especially, it does look like you said. I picked up Parker Washington everywhere. I needed to play him this week so bad at so many leagues. Even if he goes, I think he's going to be super limited. There's I think it's a hip injury. Doesn't look great. Jacoby's kind of been that guy. He's starting to lean towards him, especially if it's the rain game, throwing the ball underneath. Who are you going to get it to? Jacoby's going to be his guy. He's going to be the dump off guy. Juwan Johnson has been shockingly good with the not great quarterback play with the Saints. I'm playing him a lot of spots. I'm probably going Jacoby first and Devin Neal second. If it was a higher tight end premium, I would lean Juwan Johnson, but I would need a pretty good tight end premium, and then I would play him over Neal or Jacoby.
All right.
There we are.
Let's get to just balling with Jay's question. Full PPR, Monangai, Corum, or Tootin. So for me, Tootin and Monangai just are like the same guy. They're just, inside the 5 goal line people. Like I that's how I view them as, and when I first think about it. This matchup versus the Cardinals, the past month, 4th most fantasy points allowed to the running back. Here's a situation where you actually are seeing Corum used outside the 5, right? And, whether it's Kyron Williams, who was dealing with an injury, I believe, last week during the game, but then came back in. Even if they're splitting touches, even limited amount of touches with Corum, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for both running backs to be, top 12, top 15 for Williams, and then definitely flex consideration for Corum.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that's pretty much exactly the way I would feel about that as well. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Sorry, Dave. You've been in timeout.
I was just going to say.
I was in purgatory there for like 10 minutes.
Were you really? My bad. Sorry about that.
All right. So here, Dave. Well, Juan, morning. Who for his tight end and flex spot? So we'll start with the tight end between Zach Ertz, Juwan Johnson. So he's got Kittle on the bye. Juwan Johnson for me is I would start. I have Johnson over Ertz myself. Dave, will let you see, agree, disagree. Are you leaning Ertz or Johnson?
I'm going to go with Ertz purely because we don't know what kind of New Orleans Saints we're getting today. I mean, the Saints, will surprise you and, one week have like a high power offense. The next week they'll just crumble, kind of like they did last week. So Ertz is a great red zone threat, and they still use him as a middle of the field route runner. They play him all over the place. So give me Ertz. I think he's a more reliable target.
Now then, Jonathan, for the flex spot between Zach Charbonnet, Devon Bailey, Jordan Addison, and QJ, are you leaning one of those as the flex, or are you going to go Juwan Johnson and Ertz if the 2 tight ends is what he's kind of alluding to?
It's actually, I hadn't considered that, but it's actually a really good point. Like, particularly if there's a tight end premium angle here, then I would definitely go those 2 because they've actually both been really consistent in terms of the number of targets. Obviously, Ertz had an absolutely huge game last week. Addison is the one that I'm immediately scratching out of this, just because I just don't want to kind of put any of my stock into that Vikings passing attack at the moment. Whether it's McCarthy or Brosma, whoever is at quarterback at the moment is even Justin Jefferson is becoming someone who's kind of really hard to start. I think the player I'm going for here is Charbonnet. Obviously, we've kind of seen both of those backs used a fair bit. And I think obviously with Charbonnet, he gets used so much at the goal line that he possesses so much upside each week. So I think I am going Charbonnet.
There you go, man. Well, good luck, Juan. We know we're rooting with you, buddy. All right. Michael has a question between. He is the flex of Woody, Bam, or Jaden Higgins, or Luther Burden, full point PPR. JT, obviously being up in Chicago, Luther Burden has an opportunity to step up right now. We've seen we know the upside. I mean, from the Missouri days to the scenario unfolding in front of him, which is to be on the field for a entire role for the first time in quite a while. It feels like, I don't remember which week that was. Was it week like 4 or 5 whenever he had that the big game? But this specific matchup said if Jorge's not worried about DJ Moore, does that mean that you're worried about Luther Burden, or is that an opportunity for Luther Burden this week?
I think the safest play here is probably Bam. I'm a big Woody guy, but I have to be honest. Looking at all just the projections in a lot of league, I feel like they're really high for him this week for what he's going to get. I'm sitting Woody in a lot of spots, even though I love him. Bam's probably the safest. I'm actually playing Burden in a ton of leagues. And man, I know I said it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think he has a chance to break out with Noah Dunze this week. I think they're going to get him in there a little more. I will say Burden is the biggest boom-bust play here. He could absolutely go off in this game for you, or you could turn around and be like, I thought Noah Dunze, he ended up with 2 catches for 20 yards. Damn. I definitely think that's on the table. I'm playing Burden. Personally, I'm playing him in almost every league I have him. I think he's going to have a good game today. I think you're going to see the Bears try to get the ball out faster. I think they're going to be really worried about the pass rush of the Packers. I think Burden's going to be the guy that ends up catching a lot of those short routes this week. So I'm on Burden, but he's my boom play. If I'm just looking like I just need something out of you, I don't need a lot. I just need a little bit. I'm probably going Bam.
I think I was just going to quickly say on Burden, he's fascinating to me this week, and I think the obviously he's got a huge opportunity, but I think the thing that you can maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with is the fact that they've been trying to get him much more involved over the past kind of 3 weeks. He's seen 16 targets over the last 3 weeks. It hasn't necessarily resulted in this huge fantasy production, but he's someone that they clearly want to get the ball. And I think JT, I think you're right. I think it is only kind of a matter of time before we see him have this huge blow-up game. So it might not be this week, but I think this week is such a huge opportunity for him.
Yeah.
So just want to throw up something really quickly. I know some of you all are giving us questions, and we're getting to them as fast as possible. I just want to say, if you're looking for an immediate response, you know what? Drop a super chat donation, and we'll get your question on screen ASAP. We just got a lot of volume, and so we appreciate you all being patient, though. But we know you got stuff to do on Sunday. You got to set lineups, and so this is the easiest way for us to get to your questions as fast as possible. But we got a question here from Epic Trick Shot 8327. Do I start Burrow or Daniels, Myers or Mitchell? For me, it's Burrow and Myers in this situation.
Agreed.
Okay.
Same.
All right, let's go here to the next one. Eric Schaefer, 2031. Morning, PPR, need tight end help. Kincaid, Schultz, Hawkinson, or Warren. It's Warren for me. Although Kincaid, he's struggling with a knee and a hamstring. Yeah, I know, but he's struggling with this knee and hamstring injury. He wasn't going to be playing all week, and then yesterday the report comes out. It's like, oh, he's going to start. He's going to give it the old college try, and I'm just like, you mofo. You made it very easy in the beginning of the week that you weren't going to be playing. I wasn't even anticipating this, but Nate, you just said Cincinnati most generous to tight ends.
Ever.
It's in the history of mankind, ever.
KK was looking
ever.
at the sheet. He was like, "Man, since he sucks against tight ends, I got to get in there this week." He's like, "I got to up these stats. This is ridiculous."
Yeah, no, just I'm playing the safe side with Warren, to be honest with you guys, and I know it's let's get to Charlene's question. Sorry for being so sorry. So
Slow.
we'll get to it now. Slow, thank you. Need a wide receiver in two flex between Devonta Smith, Debo, Mechie, Lockett, Pat Bryant, Algier, Helm, Parkinson. So Devonta, one wide receiver. For me, two flex. Yeah. So if you would ask me, I know this is not the question, but if you would have said which tight end out of the two, I might have gone Gunnar Helm, to be honest with you, versus Parkinson, even though both have been playing well the past few years. But that's not the question. But that should tell you a little bit, folks, if you have that dilemma, where at least I'm where I'm going. So Devonta, Debo, and give me Pat Bryant. I like Pat Bryant's upside here versus the Raiders.
Yeah, consider the options. I'm right there with you. And it's what's going to happen is when you sit in Tyler Algier, the vulture touchdown will happen when he's in your lineup. You wait for it to happen, and it's a safe, like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a safe play, but it's the only way you're going to get anything north of 8 to 10 points out of Algier, because there's Bijan, the volume obviously in there, but I don't know. I hate choosing and even recommending Tyler Algier. So instead of just rambling on, I'm just going to stick with what you said and go with that, because it saves me a lot of breath.
No, but here you're not wrong. It's both of these guys, Bijan and Algier. They're basically like clones of each other, except for the fact that Bijan has more missed tackles forced per attempt, and he's more elusive than Algier. Algier is very much a north-south, you get what you get, versus Bijan has that big play upside.
I would be looking to avoid Algier in this particular matchup. I think like each week he's always like there's always some interest in him because he can because of his red zone usage. But against Seattle, I'm just really worried about kind of we've seen what Seattle have done to teams over the last few weeks. So I'm a little bit worried about Algier today.
All right, let's get to our next one. Next question here. From Mike Duke 1100. Strange, Marks, Jaden Higgins, or Adonai Mitchell pick 2. So Mitchell, even though we were talking about the sample size being what it is, we just can't ignore target volume, and then Brenton Strange for me.
JT.
This one I'm going Strange for me. I just think pick 2. Strange is definitely the guy I'm taking. Probably Strange Mitchell. I can't believe I'm saying AD Mitchell, but probably Strange and Mitchell.
Actually, can I take back what I just said?
No.
I think okay.
Nope. One and only pick, so no
Fair
chance.
enough.
Sorry.
Okay. Well,
Sucks.
Well, if I didn't make that pick before, which I'm sticking with because one and only, I would have said Jaden Higgins, because I didn't realize the target volume has been so high the past 3 weeks. But obviously I can't say that now because I already picked by one time only. So
Yep. So I do think I would probably lean Higgins and Mitchell with Strange right below. But since that's it, Dave, you have any final word? Here, I'll let you do it. So here's your question. Who else is starting in 2 and 3 wide receiver sets for the Cardinals if it's not Michael Wilson, Trent Sherfield, Xavier Weaver, and who's there?
Me, I think.
I am. Huh? I have to fly to Arizona after the show's over very quickly. So
congratulations.
That's why I just can't trust Brissett this week as much as I'd love to. But they're going to be double covering McBride. No, they're going to be double covering McBride big time.
Oh yeah,
You have
for sure.
have no faith. I'm recovered somewhat from my knee injury. South Sea 7765. Thank you very much for the donation. Like we said, we'll throw your questions up first. Jaden Daniels off injury or Daniel Jones? Again, healthy Jaden Daniels, broken leg Daniel Jones. I get the matchup is tough for the quarterback position, but if Jaden Daniels is healthy, which he is, give me Jaden.
Is he?
Would he be? Would they
Yes.
risk the franchise? No, they would. This is
There-
not
there is.
This is not the Daniel Snyder regime.
Do they have any
I
shot
am-
at playoffs? Are they out of playoffs, or do they have a shot?
They're 3-9. There's no way.
Hey, we made the graphic on Sunday Night Football last week where it was quote unquote in the hunt. All right, we were in the hunt last week. So
Yeah, you're
They
hanging
really need
on.
to change that. Really need to change that so it's like not technically out yet.
do you see that they actually changed the wording of it each week? If you watch Sunday Night Football, it's like in the hunt this week, and it's like, well, just clinging by a hair the next week. It's pretty funny actually to do. Anybody disagree? Daniel Jones or Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels is the pick here.
I'm gonna go Daniels, but it's not by a huge margin, and I don't know. I just far from a physician, but just don't think the recovery from a dislocated elbow is this quick for a person to be 100%. But I still think that, I'm leaning Jaden Daniels.
So I have Daniels 10 and I have Jones 16. So that's where I'm going with that. But thank you, South Sea 7765. I really appreciate your donation. It means a lot to us. Let's get to some more questions here. Charlene Egbuka, Jaden Higgins, or Neil in the flex. I'm assuming this is PPR because you hate all things non-PPR apparently. Man, it's Higgins.
The world does, Jorge. The world does.
The world does not hate non-PPR. Let's make it a
It
comeback.
does.
No,
War and non-PPR is the two things the world hates.
Yep. Famine is somewhere right around there as well.
War in standard leagues. Dave says war in standard leagues is everybody's against.
Oh my God, Dave! There's somebody that is eerily familiar to you, but is obviously not you.
Who's that
First
guy?
time caller, long time listener. Pick two: Kareem Hunt, Corum, Algier, Manon guy.
I might stay out of this one.
Okay. Real quick for David, when you put questions in the chat, what we do like to recommend is that you actually put who the team is playing potentially. It's just it's a better structured
That's true.
scenario.
Yeah.
What's the scoring system? We don't know.
I failed at my own test.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and but here, Dave, you know what?
Still
If you just go back in and do a super chat, we will answer that at a later time. But realistically,
Minimum of $200 now. It's gonna.
Yeah.
I
$200
think I'm going to
donation.
go. You know what? I would go Kareem Hunt and Kalmanon guy, and all the Bears Packers.
That's what I currently have right now.
I really think that if Chicago has a chance of winning this game, which I mean, this is a huge game. That I know we're talking the fantasy aspect of it all, but this is a monster implication. And if the Bears are smart, I think what they've done successfully is not hide Caleb Williams, but their running game has been so dominant. I think there will be enough volume, even in a split role, that Monangai will have more volume than both Corum and Algier combined, if you ask me.
Yeah.
My concern is I think I think Corum's a sneaky play this week because I think they're going to try and give Williams as much rest as possible. They know that they're sitting pretty looking into the playoffs, but I don't know. I think Corum might be getting a bit more work than we anticipate.
No, I think it's fair. It is. That's a fair. It's just to gamble on game script, or not even game script, but volume on who's going to rest. It's tricky. That's for sure. All right, so
completely subjective to the coaches, and we have no idea what their thoughts are with resting versus not resting. Versus we can look at the data and be like, okay, well, this is trending in that direction, so that makes sense there. So that's that. Yeah, I agree with you there, Nate.
Yet I just said the same thing about Ben Johnson, that I think he's going to, hide Caleb and run more.
Well, who's been showing that they're getting goal line work? That's the thing. More often than not, it's Monangai has a bit longer track record than Corum, as does Kareem Hunt. So that's you can make the case for Algier, but I think what you just said is accurate. Anyhow, Poke Varsity. I guess there's no apostrophe thingy. Ertz, Schultz, or Fannin.
Or is it poke, as in the food?
That's what I thought it was, but there's no thing over the K, or is it over the E?
Okay, guys, let's real quick. It's not too hard to figure out. Do you see the picture next to his name?
Yeah.
No.
It's barely.
It's a Pokeball guy.
And
I know
Pokemon?
that's
Yeah, like Pokemon. Yeah, there you
God,
go. See,
damn.
hey, at least Nate is observant compared to the rest of us.
Christmas.
Okay.
That's an epic fail for all three of you guys, or four of you guys, however many there are. All right, so
Here we are, like, okay, Poke.
Got to catch them all.
Like, who are these idiots I'm on the podcast with?
It's like 3P 1C fail, and it's like
that's epic. That's why I said epic fail for you guys.
Know. Yes,
well, put that together.
See what you did there.
Holy shit! All right, so if you're still listening,
they're not here for reading.
You're not here for. Is that Charizard? Is that like? I apologize. I don't know.
That is a Charizard. How do you not know? That's Charizard. Of course, it's Charizard.
I'm 46, soon to be 47 years old. That's why I don't know. But I do know that I would start Harold Fannin of the three myself. I think I go Fannin. Oh man. The tight end versus the Chiefs conversations I know from last year still resonate in my head. While I don't think it holds true as much this year as it did last year, the Chiefs are still like middle of the pack against tight ends. So, it's either Fannin. I don't think it really matters who I have at number 2. So Fannin. They're not looking for a runner-up question.
I'm Fannin, Ertz, Schultz. I think they're all right next to each other.
Same.
But I lean with you. I'm Fannin, Ertz, Schultz in that order.
The law firm.
I'm going to go Schultz on that one. I think he's been getting used a lot more, especially Stroud loves him, and he'll get a lot of targets, and he's going to catch them all. See what I did there?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Come on.
All right. All right. Pokevosity.
I can see Jonathan kind of appreciates it.
Yeah. No, it was good. I like that.
Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton. Too many mouths to feed in Green Bay, so give me Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I'm right there with Sutton.
I think there's too many mouths to feed in Denver. I think there's too many mouths to feed in Denver. You got Franklin as the. Franklin's the X.
So, and again, I'm just going to go off of the usage the past 3 weeks. Pat Bryant, 7 targets, Cortland 7-6, all the way to Troy Franklin with 3. So it's kind of like Pat Bryant's usurped Franklin on the pecking order as far as being that number 2 wide receiver for Denver. At least that's how I'm interpreting that. We got Bob Hope, 1, 2, 3. Neal or Swift, also Sutton or Myers in a PPR. This is easy for me, believe it or not. It's Devin Neal and Jacoby Myers. This is who I'm rolling with this week.
Did you see how inefficient Neal was last week, though?
He's going to get the volume. Like it's a good matchup.
What do you do? Like 18 rushes for 40 yards?
Again, the volume, 18 rushes is, that's the volume he's going to be getting. Like they're going to break through against this Buccaneers team that's been generous to the tight end position. Excuse me, running back position. Anybody not taking Myers over Sutton in this situation?
That is really close. I think both those are really close. Man, Swift is so hard to sit in. He's been playing well. Again, let's go. Oh, man, that one is close for me. I might just lean Swift just a hair over Neal, even though I think Neal's going to get a ton of touches. And then Myers and Sutton are super close to me again.
I mean, they literally are like back.
Man, I maybe go Myers just in volume in a PPR. I think he has a shot to get a lot of dump offs. Probably going Swift and Myers, but man, both of those are so close for me.
I think I'm going Myers just because I feel not necessarily that there's one like miles ahead of the other, but Myers has just been so consistent over the last 4 weeks. Like basically since he's gone to Jacksonville, it's been like an average of like 60 yards. He hasn't been lower than 40 yards, back-to-back touchdowns. Sutton, we've just seen these like spike weeks. So I just feel a little bit more comfortable with Myers in my lineup over Sutton.
All right. Let's get. Can somebody pull up the next question, please?
What's that? Oh, the next question. Yeah.
Yes, but-
So you can pick two. Hello, Frosty, by the way. Between BTJ, Christian Watson, Michael Pittman. Who's the odd man out? Who are we benching in this situation? I think that the last, well, maybe the whole season would probably push us in the direction of sitting Brian Thomas Jr., just from what we've seen. But I'm sitting one or the other. It's either BTJ or Watson, because I think I'm still comfortable starting Pittman. I just don't know what I expect I hate that decision in Green Bay, trying to figure out the mouths to feed and which one, but
It's interesting that you say that, because Pittman was the one that I was looking at. Just JT, you'll probably be able to answer this better than anyone else. But we've seen the last like couple of weeks just he's kind of just gone missing in a couple of games. And so that's kind of the fear for me, is that last 3 games he hasn't had more than like 30 yards. Watson, I think, he's been the most consistent receiver in Green Bay since he's come back, and actually kind of immediately when he came back, he was seeing like 4 or 5 targets a game, and that's kind of steadily increased. So I think
you're right, Jonathan.
That I feel like I feel best about is probably Watson.
If it wasn't for the fact that the last 2 weeks have been against both the Texans and the Chiefs, I would feel a lot more concerned about the usage and the volume of Pittman. The fact that it's Jacksonville, and I don't have my reservations about them. Like when you play Kansas City and you play Houston back-to-back weeks, it's very easy to look at the production and kind of, for me, it is, and just brush it off and go, yeah, you know what, that happens to everybody. So somebody's not going to get the volume, but it's a fair consideration. Alec Pierce, evolution, Tyler Warren, there's the running game. What pecking order is Michael Pittman? Jorge, of those three, or who you're sitting?
I'm sitting Brian Thomas Jr. I can't go against that track record here.
JT, any varying opinion?
Man, I can't even believe that we're talking about sitting Brian Thomas Jr., but I kind of think you almost have to. It's been brutal. I've got him in a million leagues. He's going to make or break me this week, for sure. Pittman, like you said, he had a monster game against the Steelers. Then he's had 3 like kind of down games. I think he bounces back a little bit this week. I'm probably going Pittman and Watson, which just absolutely blows my mind. If you would have told me, are you going to ever start Watson over Brian Thomas Jr.? I'd be like, no, freaking no way. But yes, I think you actually have to at this point.
All right. So Scampers has a question that is very intriguing at this point of the season as well, because going into the playoffs, these are the decisions. And I'm assuming this is not like a dynasty based question, or maybe it is. We'll assume whatever I want. But if you're ranking the droppability between Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell, Emmanuel Wilson, and Blake Corum, the questions that always go into my mind is, 1, who has standalone value without being just a handcuff? And then 2 is, if handcuff scenario presents itself where they do evolve or move up into a starting role, who's got the most standalone value? And I think my order in terms of, if given the starting role, Corum would be at the top of my list. Then probably Tyler Algier. Then it gets messy, because I don't love, and so like for the rest of the season, who were we droppability? I guess we go from reverse orders. Like Corum would be the last one I would drop. I would probably drop Emmanuel Wilson first myself, and then Oh boy. The next one up. So JT, who you dropping first?
I'm dropping Emmanuel Wilson. Obviously, he had that nice game when Jacobs was out. I just had to drop him for a pickup this week. Wilson's my number one guy. I'm probably out on. After that, oh, so tough. Man, it'd be Algier or Corum after that. Gainwell has just been too in the mix. You can't drop him right now. Anything happens to Warren, Gainwell is just going to be the guy. We've seen that. Charbonnet is not my favorite. I feel like Charbonnet and Algier are the exact same player. I don't know why. Every time I look at them in my lines, I feel like they're the exact same guy. Gainwell's my first guy I wouldn't drop. Wilson's my number one drop. Corum's coming on. Definitely Wilson's the drop. And the first guy you drop, Wilson. The last guy you drop, Gainwell. The other three guys are right next to each other for me.
There you go. All right, so it's Battle of the Jadens. Charlene wants to know, would you drop? Ooh, I like this little switch we've had. It's not, we're no longer in the who you start, and it's which one of these bums are we dropping going into the playoff time. So we really get to give the axe. It's kind of nice. Feels like, we're really trimming the fat, making sure your team is the most agile going into the postseason. So Dave, who are you dropping? Which Jaden are you dropping?
Probably Reed. I mean, we discussed it. There's just a lot of mouths to.
My apologies. I didn't read Charlene. It says, would you drop Jaden Higgins for Jaden Reed?
Gotcha. I would not. I think Reed is just too boom or bust. Too many mouths to feed there. Stick with Higgins. He's going to get a lot more opportunities.
I would agree with that as well. Even Jonathan, you were the next person I was going to ask based off of, you're the Green Bay person, so we do that. But you would not drop Higgins either?
No, I wouldn't. I think, as Dave said, there's a clearer path to touches there with Higgins, and we've kind of mentioned it already today that kind of Higgins has already been seeing that increase in usage. Reed they love to get in touches, but he sees these huge spike weeks, but he can also just go missing for weeks on end as well. Again, because of kind of what we've spoken about, the amount of receivers there. So yeah, no, I would stick with Higgins as well.
Gotcha. And now Patrick has two questions. First one, PPR flex. Jorge, he needs to flex Luther Burden, Brenton Strange.
For me, it's Burden. Yeah, absolutely, hands down. I discussed earlier my angst for DJ Moore, so the balls, and I'm sure that is carrying on over in Chicago. So give me Luther Burden here.
And I have a real quick flex question from Patrick, or I'm sorry, not a real quick flex question. Pivoting off that flex question, Patrick also needs to drop two players to pick up a quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, and bring BTJ off the IR. So needs to drop these two players to make those two moves. His running backs are Jahmyr Gibbs, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Bechel Tootin, Gene Wilson, Blake Corum, the wide receivers. So between, I guess, the bottom tier names that we'll look at that you're going to drop. Are you going to drop? All right. Well, I have my answer. You're dropping one a defense. Which one? Jags or Rams? I'm dropping the Jags.
Yep.
All right. So there's one. So number two, to be honest, if I could drop both defenses and figure it out later myself, but
why do people hold two defenses? Seriously, it baffles me why people hold two defenses.
Totally depends on the league. Totally depends on the league. I'm in some leagues that defenses score a ton of points, and most of them are standard leagues, and you want to hold and play the matchup because your defense actually will outscore a lot of your starters week to week, depending on that. So that I will just say that right up front. I think you're right. You got to drop one of the defenses. Jags is the drop. To me, in a redraft league like this, my number one drop is always my second defense and my second tight end. Those are always my drops. I would drop Jags and Fannin. If I wanted to hold Fannin just in case, my drop would be Wilson at running back would be the other guy. I would do that.
I like how Nate's consistent with calling him Eugene.
Yeah, Gene.
Yeah, not Emmanuel 1M, but Gene. I got you.
Nope. It's Gene. It's always going to be.
For the For the love of God, people, don't keep 2 kickers. There is no reason in life that you need 2 kickers on your team. Just have 1 kicker, all right?
I was
That
in a
is
league where you
that
had to
line.
have 2 defense, you had to have 2 kickers, and you had to have 3 quarterbacks.
Fair enough. Fair
And it
enough.
was like
Wow.
it was weird. It was like we finally changed the rules after like 20 years. People are like, why do I? And this is like a 1 QB league. Like, why do I have to have 3 quarterbacks, 2 kickers, and 2 defenses all the time? It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's kind of that's crazy. That's almost as crazy as choosing between Charizard or Blastoise. Now, Charizard is worth more in the card value realm, correct? I think that's the $1 million card that Logan or Jake Paul, whichever one, had around their neck.
Logan Paul went to go buy some dude's card like in Iowa for like $10 million or something. It was pretty crazy.
Shit, I wish I had that.
Right?
10 million. No kidding.
Dude, I
Now-
had a bunch of Pokemon
that
when I
point,
was
you
younger,
definitely
and I just threw them away. It's crazy.
Dave,
Dude, I
Nice.
didn't think it was going to be this like crazy phenomenon when I was older, you know? But
unbelievable.
oh man.
He's like, I just
Who
chucked
did?
him. He's like, just chucked him.
Oh, I did.
I've-
I've probably thrown away like, $10 million or something. I'm an idiot.
Well,
Such is
all
life.
Such
The
a
like-
vibe.
likelihood is you threw away $9 and you have hopes of
$9.75 worth of cards.
I'm gonna
yeah.
take that route. I'm gonna take that route because I think about it all the time.
I
Sorry.
will say that there are plenty of people, not to get off tangent, we got 3 questions and we'll get to them real quick. Thank you guys for your patience. But since I've started down this sports card flipping avenue and collectibles, I've had more people through work and friendships where they, oh man, I got a bunch of them. Can I bring them in? Can you value for me? And I said, sure, absolutely. I said, just know it's going to suck. You're not going to be happy. And they're like, but because, I have had some lucky cards that I've sold like for, $4,000 and $5,000 that they hear all these stories about, not the $2 card or the $10 card. It's, the 5,000 here and 3,000 here. And so they come in and it's a nickel. I mean, it legitimately like, but it's, it's Michael Jordan. I was like, yeah, but it's a Michael Jordan. There was 150,000 produced of per day. And that's like a low end. It's probably more like,
That's the trouble.
700,000.
In the 90s, because I got a ton of basketball, I got like Sean Kemp supersonic, cards and stuff like that I thought were going to be worth like a ton, and they're worth like $5, But
Yeah.
you're right. Like back in the 90s, I think it was Upper Deck or Top Deck, whatever they're called.
Upper Deck.
Yeah, Upper Deck.
Yeah, they mass produced that stuff, so they're everywhere.
So while you all were collecting sports cards in the 90s, and we know where this is not going, I did not collect sports cards. I collected Marvel cards, like these Marvel masterpieces back in the day. You remember Marvel masterpieces? No, nobody? Anybody out there? Come on.
I know of them, but I think those are cool. I will have to admit, really cool.
Well, they released back a couple of years ago the Marvel Masterpieces 94, the 22 editions.
There you go.
Whatever. Yeah, they're kind of expensive. I didn't realize cards got so expensive nowadays. Anyhow,
Crazy expensive. I watched way too much. So Charlene has an IDP question for probably just for you two. I mean, I can let one of you guys other answer, but
so Charlene and I, we get movie references pretty simpatico here. We're simpatico with that. So Charlene and anybody else in the chat, I'm going to get you an opportunity to have a couple stickers and a Fantasy and Frames koozie, Fantasy and Frames stickers and Fantasy and Frames koozie coming your way. If I said Aziz Light, what movie am I referencing? You all have 10 seconds now. Just put it in the chat. But I'm going with Aziz Al-Shayer, and we're counting down to which movie it is. Anybody who's listening.
I have no idea.
Boom, she got it. Fifth Element. Love it. That's what I'm talking about, Charlene. All right, I love it. All right.
What was the first movie you guys saw in a cinema? Mine was, do you guys remember the movie Rocketeer?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's a good
That
movie.
was the first movie I ever seen in the cinema.
You know what mine was, and I don't know why. And maybe you guys, somebody psychology wise, can understand how you have a memory from the age of like 4 or 5, but yet couldn't tell you what I did yesterday. Went and saw E.T. and
Oh.
I remember why. I remember crying whenever he was in that bubble thing, you know, and that moment sticks. And I don't cry watching it anymore. For everybody wondering, I've grown up and I'm a man. I don't cry, but I probably would shed a tear just a little bit. I might shed a tear at this question because this is.
I was gonna say I don't remember the first movie I went to, but I will say the most awkward movie I went to is I went and saw Pulp Fiction with my parents when I was in high school.
Shit, really?
That was very awkward to sit next to my very conservative parents during Pulp Fiction. I didn't even. I couldn't even look sideways at them. I was just like this the whole time because I was like, I can't look at them because I don't know how I'm going to react. Sitting here next to my mother watching
the GIMP scene. Yeah, I'm guessing that was probably.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think everybody was thinking that. But I do want, before we answer the question, Jonathan, not being in the States, how
I think the first one that I remember going to is Star Wars Episode 1. I was just looking up whether Star Wars Episode 1 or the first Harry Potter film came out first. I think, yeah. So Star Wars Episode 1 was 1999. So I think that was the first one that I went to.
Dude, I'm not letting my kids watch Harry Potter, and I'll tell you why. So when we go to Universal Studios, there is so many of these adults, like 40-year-old people, fully dressed, in the whole whatever it is. I don't even know what the names. I'm like, I will not let my kids be those Harry Potter weirdos who are adults. Like, so they have this thing Universal where like there's a blue infrared thing you can do with a wand.
With the wand, the RF reader. Yeah.
And there's like 45-year-old people fully dressed up. I'm like, that will never be my kids. You're not. You know why?
Do you know why it's 40-year-old people doing that? Because those wands cost like $150 a pop, and therefore they're the only ones who can afford to get those, not those kids. So
I don't care. It's just bizarre, man.
Whatever. Fox and the Hound.
Disney,
that was my
Disney adults, man. You should not be a Disney adult. Come on. I don't mind you go to Disney, but don't be Disney weirdos. Right?
I will.
Dave,
you're gonna scare all our people off, Dave. You're gonna scare everyone off here.
As a Mighty Ducks fan and still watches it to this day, you know what, Dave, screw you. That's what
I love Disney, but I'm just saying, like Disney, like land.
Men, let's get back to our fantasy football conversation that we're having about a fake game about real football that we live passionately for. We wax poetically as a make-believe game of fancy football. Let's ease
the well-being for us. How happy we are for the rest of the week.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, boy. And and I'm not going to even admit that we may have one of those wands upstairs, and it is.
We also did not answer the IDP question because we got into the page.
It was Algier. Okay.
Algier. Okay. We got going. I was like, did we even answer the IDP question? That got off the rails.
Aziz Light. She says that at least 10 times a day. I love it.
Yes. Now, so answer this PPR question. Kyle Monangai or Woody Marks. Start there. JT.
Most weeks I would say Woody Marks. I'm leaning Monangai this week. I think the touchdown chance for him is higher.
I second. Same reason.
Jonathan?
Yeah, same here. And
Dave, consensus?
Nope. I'm going to go Woody Marks. I think Woody Marks is going to get a lot more usage. Yeah, I am a bit worried about Monangai. Obviously last week he went berserk for 22 rushes, but they had that game in control from minute one. So I don't know if that happens as much this week. And they still, Swift is the one. He's getting 60, 70% of the work. So, I'd rather the number one option in Woody Marks over, the 1B in Chicago.
Fair reasoning. I think that they're really close is the nice thing too. So, but secondary to that is Daniel Jones in the potentially bad weather or Tyler Shuck. I will still take Daniel Jones with a broken leg over Tyler Shuck myself.
Broken leg, Daniel Jones.
Sorry, Tyler Shuck. Is it Shuck show? How do they actually? I don't watch enough.
It should be.
Jorge will tell you he wants to call him how he likes to call it. He doesn't care what his real name is and how he does it. he wants to call him a certain
Tyler
name,
Show.
and that's what he does.
Why?
That's
Why
right.
do you feel that way? Because that's the way that it would look written out.
Yeah, that is.
And what is your name? And what is your name?
Jorge.
And how would it
motherfucker.
say
Okay, yeah, I
if
got
you
you.
read
Yeah.
it the way it was?
Georgie, what are you doing?
Yorga.
That's not. That is
Yorga.
not. That is
Yorga.
not a.
Georgie?
That's not a Spanish name. So I don't know. That's a funny one.
That is that you set me up really good. That was good.
I
like
did.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was
that
really proud of that one.
That
As
was,
we move
you
on.
should be. That was a good
thanks.
one. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good job.
Kingbird wants to know. Good morning. Good morning to you. In a half-point PPR, Adonai Mitchell, Luther Burden. This is the tricky one because Adonai Mitchell for me is the safer. I think has just a high of ceiling as Luther Burden. I think it's I'm going to say a much safer, which is crazy to think. I lean Mitchell, but I understand the case to be made if someone else says Luther Burden. Dave, I'll go around in, I guess, counterclockwise order and let you say Mitchell or Burden.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mitchell. I mean, he did a good job. He did what we expected him to do with the Jets. I mean, there is no one to throw to. So, yeah, he looked great last week. Hopefully he continues it. I'm going to take the chance with Mitchell.
Jonathan?
Yeah, same here. He was someone I wrote about in the Trends article this week. He obviously last week was a huge blow-up game, but he's seen like 8 targets per game over the last 3 weeks. And you've seen Tyrod Taylor just provide a much more kind of stable floor for all of the pass catches. He's throwing like 30 times a game. So yeah, I'm going Mitchell there as well.
And as you alluded to, definitely go over to fantasyandframes.com. Check out Jonathan's work and everybody else where he'll tell you about Terry McLaurin, Bucky Irving, Adonai Mitchell, Jacoby Myers, etc. It's a great read, great information, backs up a lot that we've talked about so far this morning. Jorge, Adonai Mitchell as well for you or Luther Burden?
That is correct, Adonai Mitchell.
And go ahead.
So unrelated to that, but related to what you were saying on Fantasy and Frames, I'm curious what the people in the chat think about this. So we normally give our plays and fades, we give our waiver wire recommendations, but would you all want to read an article where we're talking about like real high ceiling plays for the fantasy playoffs? Like let's say you're projected to lose by a lot and you need that saving grace to get you through. Big risk, big reward. Would you read something like that? Let me know in the chat. I'm kind of curious if I should put that out or not going forward for the next.
It's a good idea, Jorge.
It is. You know what you should do? Try to incorporate Icarus into the name. You know, kind of can you fly too high to the sun and maybe be successful or get burnt? So
I want to throw something on here. And Andrew Williams, you were very close to getting blocked because you said the right term.
Get it, Andrew.
Fantasy football podcasters greater than Trekkies. Yes, greater than Trekkies, not greater than truckers. Harry Potter adults greater than Disney adults in order of least to most embarrassing. There is nothing wrong with being a Star Trek fan, Andrew. But the Trekkies take it too far. The Trekkers are the more ones grounded in reality. But we'll just leave it just there.
I think that is a perfect order, mostly because of the vehemently defense like that they have of their specific role. Like the Disney adults, maybe this is terrible, and I probably shouldn't even go this direction. But you know, I'm already there.
You're already there. Yeah.
They freak me out the most because like I worry that they get super defensive if you call out a person who's a Disney adult. And don't get me wrong, this is maybe sexist too, but the men more so than the women. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
No,
it's true.
My wife loves Disney, and when she wants to go to Disney, most of the time she wants to take our nieces and nephews, or she wanted to take Haley when she was little. You know, which makes sense to me, and it brings back a lot of fond memories for her when she goes and she gets caught up in the moment and likes everything about it. I'm cool with that. But there are some weirdos there that I see and I'm like, hold the kids a little tighter. And I'm like, come on, man, let's stay away from the weirdo wear. Oh, so sorry. I know this is off the rails. This is not going great.
It wouldn't be a Fantasy and Frame show if it wasn't off the rails. For those who watched Shoot the Gap this past week, Gary Davenport, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I saw that clip. That was good.
The line
line between Disney adults and his certain parties probably blends together. And
Oh, sure.
Go back and watch. But Andrew,
Yeah.
even though you have, you did use Trekkies correctly there real quick. PPR, Baker Mayfield or Jacoby Brissett in his depleted receiving core. Depleted is a fair understatement for sure. Luckily, still Trey McBride, so it's at least him and Wilson. But Mayfield or Brissett, I think I know, Jorge, your answer is Brissett, correct?
That is correct, yep.
JT?
Oh, it's a close one. The matchup doesn't seem good for Brissett, but in the wideouts, everything's saying like you probably shouldn't, but I feel like he's going to play well at home, and I feel like he's going to throw a million passes. So I'm on Brissett today on that. I think there's a chance. Man, these Bucks Saints games are always so weird. This feels like a game where the Bucks should just blow them out. And you're like, oh, they're handing off the ball and it's over. You just never know, though. Those games get so wild. I'm probably going Brissett here.
Dave?
I'm going to go Baker Mayfield. I mean, you got indoors, in a dome. Those games are always shootouts usually. I understand you've got Tyler Show, whatever his name is, but I think Mayfield is going to start looking better. He's got Chris Godwin back. I mean, Ibuka is elite. So, yeah, give me Baker Mayfield.
Just following what Jay says, he loves off the rails. Well, you came to the right place. What can I say?
Yeah.
Okay,
this is your show, then.
Yeah.
All right. Chandler Constantino has, I think it's AJ Brown or Michael Wilson. AJ Brown for me, and I know, Dave, you like to say don't get cute. And 4 weeks ago, if we were now with Michael Wilson, you know how that all unfolds. Yes, I would have seen this closer, but the Eagles have really started to understand that their running game just isn't working all that well, and they have definitely adapted to the pass quite a bit more over the last couple weeks. Partly last week was because they were down, they had to throw the ball a lot, but I think that they see that as some of their success. So I'm going AJ Brown without question. Does anybody have Michael Wilson? And I would like to hear why if you do. No.
I can't.
I like Wilson this week. I think he's going to get a ton of targets, but I just
not over.
I think this is overthinking it. You got to play AJ Brown. I know it's been difficult, like the up and down of the year, and you're like, you've been hearing him bitch, and everybody's like, he's just been playing that well. I think you got to go AJ Brown.
If I lose the playoffs, if I'm trying to get in playoffs, and I play AJ Brown and Michael Wilson happens to have a big game, I can live with that. But if I started Wilson, knowing I've got AJ Brown there, trying to get cute, that's where I'd have regrets.
Yeah, because like you look at the last 2 weeks, and I mean even the last 3 weeks in terms of the usage for AJ Brown, but obviously the last 2 weeks of production has been absolutely off the charts. So yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah. So Frosty also, kind of wants to know how we feel about Luther Burden, but in this context as well, Luther Burden or Jaden Reed. I'm going to go Luther Burden, even though I know that both similar, a lot of potential mouths to feed, not sure the pecking order, but I just trust Burden. His involvement with that offense has been, more involved than Jaden Reed's real first introduction into it. So I go Burden over Reed. Is anybody leaning Reed over Burden?
No. Again, DJ Moore, frustrating, right? But Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson, even more frustrating. So
you got Golden there as well. Is Golden back?
He's game time or doubtful.
I mean, he's alive. He's there.
He is alive.
I mean, that's like what'd you call it? Who's the Late Show guy that used to be on the Daily Show on Comedy Central? Not
Kilborn? You talking about
no
or somebody else?
Brunette, glasses, older guy. Anyhow, he had 50 Cent on, and he's like
Jay Leno.
No, the Late Show, not the Tonight Show.
Oh, Late Show. I'll go.
Stephen Colbert, and he was like 50 Cent. You have to answer like these 5 questions honestly. And he's like asking all sorts of, and finally he's like, say something nice, or you have to say a comment, right? His last one is like, say something nice about Ja Rule. Well, he's alive. So that's exactly what I thought about.
That is great.
I heard.
I'm
I
Luther
saw
Burden
something
all
on-
day. We talked about it with Frosty a little. We talked about it a little bit. Luther Burden to me is a definite play over Reed, and how I feel about Burden is I think if you're in Dynasty, he's probably gonna be harder to acquire, but you got to go get him. I think Luther Burden is gonna explode next year. I think DJ Moore's on the way out. I think Burden is gonna be the guy. I just love him. The talent is there. They just got to figure out how to work him in enough, and I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I love Luther Burden. I like him this week a ton. I'm playing him in every league I have him in.
Yeah. Side note, I have been part of a sale to his father here in St. Louis.
Oh.
What do you think? What do you know about that?
How about that?
What do you know? Exactly. He did not give me any insight as to Luther Burden's availability or sustainability in fantasy. I don't
I
really.
could have got my Luther Burden jersey signed, and you didn't even tell me, Nate. Wow, that hurts.
Number one, didn't anticipate my clairvoyance was not on high quite yet. I did not know he was gonna be there. I guess I could.
How did that conversation come up? Do you just see the last name Burden and go any relation?
His name's Luther Burden because it's Luther Burden. The fourth is
Luther Burden the third.
Okay, he's
Sure,
a
it
junior.
was Luther the second that you were talking.
Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Did you still
I-
confirm
I-
that, or was that just like a random? You're
No,
piecing
we
it
knew.
together.
It was
okay.
he's from the area, and
Again, that's a fair point.
and
yeah.
so it was. Yeah, it wasn't me that directly. I said indirectly assisted, but yeah, it wasn't really.
On another
Like
note,
Brown on it.
East St. Louis lost in the state championship. In
I
Illinois, 6-8.
can't believe it.
Monster upset.
Yeah.
People here in Illinois are like, no one thought they could lose. Like, they've lost like 2 or 3 games this year, but they played like an insane schedule, and the only teams they lost to were other like huge state champions. Like, no one thought they could lose, and they lost this week in an insane game to Fenwick. Congratulations to them down the wire. But man, nobody saw that coming. It was considered one of the biggest. I think it's going to be considered one of the biggest upsets in state history for a long time. Like East St. Louis, like wow, it would. And I bring that up because Luther Burden went to East St. Louis. So.
Yeah, there you go. I was my uncle and my family big in Illinois high school sports over the years, both from officiating. My uncle officiated, I don't know, 15 or so Illinois state championships. And he got to watch a bunch of those. And he was very excited to see just how far East St. Louis could go and win. And I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm sure he's crazy. So, but here's this question. Andrew wants to know, we need to fill a wide receiver 2 and a flex. So the wide receiver 2 spot between Sutton or Pierce.
I'm going Sutton on this one. He's the X. Sutton is the X receiver. Pierce is the Y. So simple as that. We don't know what kind of Daniel Jones we're getting today. I think Bo Nix has a bounce back game. He loves to target Sutton. He's great in the red zone. So give me Sutton. And I'm probably taking Pierce in the flex. Neal didn't impress me last week. I'm a little bit worried. I'm starting him in one league, and I don't like it. But give me those 2.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is PPR. So
yeah, I would assume so. Andrew has a good grasp on being in reality.
PPR, I think you have to go to the wide receivers. I'm in a standard league. I might lean Neal over Pierce.
What about half?
Just a hair or half. I think it's really close in half. I'm probably Sutton Pierce going for the upside of Pierce, but I do like Neal. I'm playing him a lot of spots. I'm probably playing the high side that Pierce gets a long play and a touchdown because he's been really good lately over Neal. I'm going Sutton Pierce. Scoring very iffy depending on the scoring. If you get 0.25 per carry league type of league, I would go Neal over Pierce in that type of league. If it's like half PPR but 0.25 per carry, because I think Neal's going to get a ton of touches.
Well, there's one more flex question that Monangai, Charbonnet, Troy Franklin, and this is PPR, and then which of those three do you think has a better floor? So I guess we can start with the floor question. In a full point PPR between Monangai, Charbonnet, Troy Franklin, the safest floor, I think the safest floor for me is Troy Franklin. Is anybody leaning Monangai or Charbonnet as far as the safety in the floor?
I do. I think one of those two. I'm trying to work out which one I prefer, Charbonnet or Monangai. Probably Monangai. I think he falls in the end zone and has at least 40 yards. So if you're purely looking for floor, I'm going one of those running backs. Troy Franklin, I get it. He gets looks, but it could be a Sutton day.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, prior to last week, I would have said Franklin, but then obviously he kind of like comes out and it's like 2 for 20 yards or something like that. And so, I would have said Franklin before last week. And that last game has thrown me a little bit. Yeah.
And that's rightful. And I get that. And I try to stay away, hoping that I could use the previous 4 games before that where he was averaging 9 targets a game. And I want to use that, like the target volume as a safety in the floor. But that's right. So, Jonathan, I'm sorry. Who would you lean? Did you say the safest floor? I missed it. Monangai or Charbonnet then?
To me, I really like the look of Monangai, and actually, like, he's seen at least 10 touches in like 4 of his last 5 games. So he is seeing this is more of a 1B rather than a clear sort of 1 and 2 in Chicago. And I know it's a tough matchup, but I think Monangai is just kind of seeing so many touches, and he's been really good with those touches, that I think that is probably safest in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jonathan. You look at the rushing attempts for the past 3 weeks. Monangai 34 to Swift's 26. That is we're seeing something happening, like a changing of the guard. Yeah. So floor, Monangai definitely over Charbonnet, where there's always Charbonnet and Walker have tanked each other's value to the point where they're both giving you 10, 11 points, but you get more upside with Monangai in his floor.
I think Franklin
I'm a
has
Nungai
most...
floor. Oh, sorry. I'm a Nungai floor, Franklin upside. Like you said, outside of the 3 targets last week, he's had 8 or more targets, 5 straight weeks. It's 8 to 10. So Franklin's getting the targets in PPR. I think the problem with him is he gets the catches, which is nice. So you got to be full PPR. Yards are not usually there for him.
Right.
Even when he gets a lot of targets, the yards are pretty low. So I say Monangai is definitely my floor play. Troy Franklin, you're hoping he's seen a ton of targets. So you're like, hey, if I can get 6 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown, you're like, oh, boom, I hit. I got 16, 17 points out of him. So I'd say Monangai is the floor for me, but I do like Franklin. Just the consistency in target share has been great, but the yardage hasn't been all year. I mean, you're looking at 40 to 65, 70 yards if you're lucky on 6 or 7 catches for him.
Yeah, I was just looking. He's barely been above 40 yards in those games, despite that target share. There's since week 8, he's been he's got 3 games this year above 50 yards, and other than that, it's generally 20 to 40 ish.
Mm-hmm. If it was not full point PPR, I wouldn't even consider. But when I talk about, when I look at floor and I look at a running back in split role versus a receiver, where in a full point PPR, it's I could see Monangai getting, 75 yards on the ground, which unfortunately still equates to, without a touchdown, the 3 for 43 out of Troy Franklin. It sucks that they're the same. I hate that they're like that, which is why I've always recommended standard leagues. It's a better true definition of just how. I'm kidding. That's dumb. Well, I do have a question though, pivoting off of this. Friend texts me and wants to know if he would start DeAndre Swift or Alec Pierce. I feel like that's been a common
Is he
trend.
smart in playing non-PPR also, or is he one of the...
Oh, no, it's full point PPR.
Oh, well.
He's an adult.
Disney people and non-PPR people are not adults.
Exactly. We'll ask.
I think it's like the only people that are in standard any PPR leagues at this point. That league has to have been around at least 20 years, and those
I
are
would
the
join
only
one
leagues
today.
that are still like I'm in some
Yeah.
standard leagues still, but every single one of them been around like 20 years plus, and those are the.
I love
only
that you're
ones
bringing me
that
in
I'm
on a
in.
discussion of ancient people who play
Yeah,
Exactly.
old
Yep.
formats.
Go
Sure.
ahead. We'll ask I would say probably played a longer. I'm going to give you the tenure of
fantasy football playing.
yes.
I actually the first league that I played in, we gave something like a point for was it a point for every 5 receptions? It was some sort of modified PPR because I think people had a notion even then that like otherwise we're just going to take running backs for the first 3 rounds, which is what people did anyway.
Yes, exactly. I've went through as far back as I can find on my existing leagues. I think 2001 or 2000 was the first one that I played in that Yahoo kept track of, and it's always fun to go back. And I think Andy, you might have written a story like maybe it was something through X or whatever where you documented and went and found some of the older leagues and talked about that. And I remember reading through it. It was it was one of my favorite things. It's easy how I don't want you to tell me about statistics. I don't care. But if you can pull up a draft from 2000 and show me what idiot took a kicker in the second round and 4 quarterbacks back to back, I'm in.
I had been looking for something like that for so long and wanted to write it at Yahoo for years. And finally, it was at the Expo. I ran into 2 guys who not only had a fantasy league that started in 1984, but one of them was like a hoarder. And he had all of the original records, and he just shared them with me. He shared me with me the original draft board, and it's insane. The names are crazy. It's Theismann, it's Neil Lomax, it's Lynn Dickey. Like this is the first round. They didn't know better. They were like, I don't know, quarterback's important. We better draft nothing but quarterbacks. And then they were like, kickers score every week. We better draft nothing but kickers. Yeah.
Morton Anderson's the all-time leading scorer in the NFL. Why would I not want? But at the same time, though, as if everybody does it, it's not a stupid pick if you're not getting that separate. If everybody takes a quarterback, then basically the second round turns into the first round. It's just the person who has the 12th pick all of a sudden has the most valuable spot. It is very fascinating how we've evolved and devolved all in the same sphere of playing this dumb game. So are you in any standard leagues, Mr. Barrett?
Well, regrettably, yes. I is the exact scenario.
Hear that, Jorge? Regrettably.
Regrettably.
It's and I'm not like I actually think full PPR is kind of dumb.
Thank you.
I would agree.
I mean, just because it doesn't the act of catching a ball is just not. I don't know. It has no intrinsic value, and it sets up too many situations where a catch for no gain should not have the same value as a 10-yard run. It's just dumb. But by playing a bunch of leagues that reward points for first downs and all kinds of events that actually matter. So I'm for that. But yeah, I am in one standard league that is it's like 25 years old. No, it's older than that. It's like 30 years old. And I joined a little bit late, but it's, has all the original settings.
Nice.
Here's my argument to that, right? So the typical NFL team will have roughly 70 plays a game, right? Of those 70 plays, usually 40 are running plays. So you have 30 plays, which got to get distributed to one of 7, 8 receivers. So that's why I think the point should be valuable, because that running play typically goes to 2 running backs, primarily 1. So why should we keep rewarding the running back? All right, it's not all about running back. It's about everyone. Share the love. So there's value in that target.
Yeah, there's not value in a target that's behind the line of scrimmage, and he gets a full point out of that for the running back that goes for 10 on the first down. That's where I actually like the first down benefit a little bit, even if it's only like 0.2, just the emphasis on there. So either way, Jorge, what we've learned is that if you're really wanting to win an FSWA award, writing about the positional need of standard leagues is not what's going to help.
I will I swear to God, after week 18 or the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to start my march to an FSWA award next year, talking about the importance of non-PPR in fantasy football, and it's going to blow people's minds. Just wait.
Yeah. Oh, it will. Trust me. It's
I will say I won't dwell on what ends up winning FSWA awards, but one thing that we've seen in like the article awards in the last few years is it is very non-standard stuff. It's stuff that, like, you know, you wrote that one article that you've had in your mind for 5 years that you finally wrote that doesn't really have any, that is not like a bread and butter fantasy story.
Right.
That's what almost always wins, because the judges get bored out of their minds, you know. And there's some really good stuff out there, but they are reading the same content over and over, basically, and a lot of the same names.
See, look at that insight. You didn't even know you got there, Jorge.
Well, yeah,
Valuable.
you know, I love it. Which, by the way, Andy, I love how I should say, because how I was about to phrase that was going to be sarcastic. This is not sarcastic. I appreciate you in the fact that the very first thing you did not do was bring up Iowa blowing out Maryland 83-64 yesterday. Thank you for not doing that. That is much appreciated. So.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I mean, I know that can come back to burn me if I start smack talking on that team's behalf. That's not going to end well for me.
That's funny. All right, Jay Rogers too. We see your questions. Lamar, Baker, or Jordan Love. Andy, why don't you get us started with that one?
I think you're really going to hate my answer here. I thought Lamar Jackson looked good last week. And I know that's not even a popular thing to say. And I appreciate that his actual performance, fantasy-wise, reality-wise, in the last few weeks, I'm sure he's compromised to some extent by the medley of leg injuries that he's had. I thought when he needed to beat somebody to the first down marker last week, he did. I think he looks fast. Changing direction might be an issue for him. I thought he looked fast. He had the fumble by Isaiah Likely at the 1 that would have been a 40+ yard touchdown. He had the absolute phantom OPI call on Zay Flowers. You had Walker dropping. At least one was a clear drop and I think it was actually on the same drive as the Likely play, so we can't double count here. But that would have been like a 60-yard touchdown. I mean, he just dumb luck kept him from 300 yards and multiple scores. And if that happens, we're not panicking about him. But instead, we are panicking about him, and we're like, oh man, is he QB 12? Should I go even lower? I don't know. I thought he looked fine. I'd play him.
What about you,
Good news
Jonathan?
is move Lamar Jackson up in my rank 1 spot.
Done. So actually, it's funny. I have these 3 quarterbacks all in order: Lamar, Jordan, Baker, starting at 10 to 12.
Shit, I have Lamar 6.
I mean, he did also,
I was
I
optimistic.
get it. He missed practice on Thursday. It is clearly still bothering him. He wouldn't miss practice if the injury wasn't getting to him. I just thought he was having such a better game than the actual box score suggested that I'd stick with him.
I'm more concerned that he's got 3 quarterbacks on a team, unless it's super flex.
That's a great call. That's a really good call.
Who is this? Jay Rogers, Jaquiz Rogers? I don't know. But
yes,
Wow, that's throwing it back. Running back for the Falcons, I believe that's yeah.
No, that was Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, right?
maybe
Jaquiz
both.
Rogers? Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, but Jorge, when you say throwing it back to Jaquiz Rogers and Andy's talking about throwing it back to a league 30 years ago, I don't think they quite carry the same. It's like, we're going way back 36 weeks ago.
Jonathan, who are you taking out of these 3?
I think I'm going Lamar as well. There's part of me that I just think he hasn't thrown a passing touchdown in 3 games, and I don't think that's something that we should kind of count on continuing. This is Lamar Jackson. And I think he, as Andy said, he was up to 250 yards or something last week. We are seeing him get usage on the ground as well. I think it was about over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, he's been seeing sort of 6, 7, 8 rushes per game. So it was kind of like we were talking about before with Jordan Love, where the reason that he was so fantasy relevant last week was because he threw 4 touchdowns. And that's kind of what can sometimes happen with quarterbacks. It's just the touchdown rate is can just kind of can fluctuate quite a lot through the season. So yeah, I would go with Lamar as well.
It was Tampa Bay because he won the starting job over the most overhyped running back in the history of fantasy football, Charles Sims. Anyone remember him?
Yeah. Do you remember Charles Sims?
That's
Wow.
sticking.
Dude, he was going up
call.
like second round in some leagues. Like, oh, Sims is going to blow up this year. I fell for that trick. That's right.
Yeah. I think we've all learned that we're all a bunch of idiots that buy into way too much hype. But Jay Rogers did have a secondary question between Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, Deebo Samuel. Alec Pierce so far wins the award for most mentioned player in the questions.
Yeah.
Christian Watson's a close second. I mean, and I think we've leaned.
I just love the fact that people are
so
playing
far.
Alec Pierce and asking about it. For me, because I love Alec Pierce, and I've been trying to tell people he's going to be decent for like a couple seasons. And people are like, "No, he's terrible. He's never going to be any good." And now people are like, "Should I play Alec Pierce in fantasy?" And I'm like, "This is like a little bit of joy in my heart that at least he's being considered being played every week, as opposed to like, oh, I'm only going to play that guy when everybody on my roster is hurt and I don't have any other option."
So I do have a real question about just memory, Andy, is that when I look at a scenario like this where we've been talking for 3 hours and we have the same question between Pierce and Watson, I have no clue if I've taken Christian Watson or Alec Pierce every time that the questions come up. Do you actually write down like or do you guarantee like, you know what? I'm going to hope that half the people listening now weren't the same half back then. And you do the 50-50 hedge like sports books do, where they're like, no, take the points. Nope, give the points. And then you're going to appease 50%. How do you keep track? Or do you just...
That is such a good like inside baseball question, and it like this happens to be a range of receiver where I know my ranks really well, right? Like I've got Watson a little bit ahead of Pierce. I have them both as top 20 options at the position. I'd want to try to shoehorn both of them into a lineup, but like as we get a little bit further down the ranks, I don't know. I can't tell you off the top of my head whether I've got a guy 39 or 42 or whatever. And if you ask me just a little bit further down the ranks, I'm not gonna fully know, because it's just a wasteland at wide receiver. It felt like this week, most weeks, but this week in particular, once we got outside the top, 8 guys, it was just like there's fleas on everybody. It was a minefield. It was terrible to rank. So yeah, I don't write it down every time. I wish I did write it down though. I wish because we used to do Fantasy Football Live. It used to be like a 90-minute show, a 2-hour show, and you would get the same names repeatedly, and it was a panic moment when you thought maybe you reversed course on an earlier reply. Yeah.
See, that's how I feel all the time, because I don't remember, and I don't even answer the questions half the time. I let these guys do it. So I can only imagine the panic when. Huh?
Do you guys have like Watson and Pierce? Where's your Justin Jefferson line this week? Are they both ahead of Justin Jefferson?
Oh God.
So so those three, I have Jefferson at 19, I have Pierce at 23, and Watson at 26.
Isn't that crazy? We're talking about Justin Jefferson being in the teens. It's like crazy. A late teen as well. Yeah. Late teens, wild.
Well, when you have JJ McCarthy, who for his season this year is ranked number 1 in most off-target throws. I mean, it's kind of.
But there's certain players who usually surpass talent. Like I don't know if people remember DeAndre Hopkins from 2014 to 16. He had T.J. Yates, Brandon Whedon, Case Keenum, like these dumpster fire quarterbacks, and he was elite. I thought Jefferson would be the same.
This is a crazy good matchup too. I bring it up because I've got Watson and Pierce in exactly the same range as Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is the NFL's all-time leader in receiving yards per game. Like, he is verifiably great, and we've got him like in the late teens. It's wild.
Yep, and it is that listing right there. If I were to say go back 14 weeks into the season and say, Nate, this will be your rankings in week 14, and I saw Jefferson along the names of Michael Wilson, Christian Watson, Alec Pierce and Jacoby Myers, I would think, okay, this can't be right. What is it? Is this alphabetical order or something? And even that would not be right. But it would be closer. It would be closer to being in the same as that. But Andrew does have the most important question of the day. He says, Kaimi Fairbairn against the Chiefs, or McPherson against Buffalo. So here's the context of the scoring. It is -1 point for a missed field goal or extra point, probably. +4 for 40 to 49 yards. It's +5 for 50 to 59, and then +6 for the 60 yards. So I'm guessing
Andrew, that's my league. Andrew, it's 7 points for over 50 yards.
Oh,
he's in my league.
Inside.
Know your rules, Andrew. You got the rules wrong the other time.
Well. Get it together.
You thought it was like a full point per completion for the quarterback. It's half. Know your rules, man. Go to the rule book right now. Look, Yahoo.
Dave is like, this is why you're terrible in this league. This is why you're playoffs.
Exactly.
Don't read the rules. You don't know the
Because he's had kicker
league.
scoring slightly wrong. Yeah.
yeah, right. Exactly. Good Lord, kickers are now. Is that 50 to 50? So the +5 on top of the 3 for the field goal.
Yeah.
So we just have like regular. So 3 points for up until 40 yards, then 4 points from 40 to 50, and then it's 7 points from 50. So if you get a 51 yarder versus a 49, that's a 3-point difference.
Yeah, in my home league, we just do whatever the yardage is. That's the point total.
Decimal, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can I say I like a deduction that corresponds to how many points they get if they make it, because it's a pretty big deal to miss a 60-yard field goal, like field position.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. No, that's actually very interesting. But then again, I also think it's like if you miss, like it's actually technically field position wise, it is worse to miss a 60-yarder for the team dynamic than it is to miss a 25-yarder. I mean, realistically from position, but you should be penalized if you miss a 25-yarder because, as Carrie will say, yelling at the screen every time, that's your job. Usually it's from like 55 when they miss. And I'm like, Carrie, it's a 55-yarder. And then she goes back to when we went to SoFi and I tried to kick a field goal at SoFi and I missed really, really bad. She has the video. She shows it to people.
Oh, I have the video too.
I know you have video, but we'll go on. It is.
I've never seen that video.
Yeah, it's not out there anymore. It's Andrew says it's his girlfriend's league.
Oh, okay.
And
Still about a different one.
I got that
Yeah.
video.
the fact that
fair
Andrew
enough.
plays in 2 different leagues where
See,
you
Dave
get,
just
like,
getting
40
on people,
points
writing them for no reason.
Here I am blasting him.
Exactly.
I will also say, in answer to the question, like the weather, I mean, it's snowing a lot in Buffalo right now. I don't know what the weather is like in Kansas City, but
It's nice, actually.
it looks like a weather situation in Buffalo where maybe you want to get away from the kickers.
You
I
have
was
to
gonna say,
consider dome.
Take the Texas kicker. I don't want any kicker ever in Buffalo in the winter. I don't care if it's snowing or not. I don't want anybody up there at that time of year. Give me another guy. I'd take Fairbairn for Houston for sure.
Yeah. Moggs
Yes.
is in the chat. Jay, he says he's starting Mike Wilson and Luther Burden over Jettas this week, which I don't know if I could do the Burden. Mike, I don't know if I could start either over them. But I
No.
respect the.
You can't not start Justin Jefferson because he has that potential.
I want to know what the context of this. If I had to guess, either he's in first place and has no concern whatsoever about the outcome. My guess is it can't be like a 6-7 record where you have to win to get in.
You said it.
No one. Let's be adults. No.
No, I think this is almost the context where you're trying to make the playoffs, and like you're doing it almost because if Michael Wilson and Luther Burden go off, you can talk about it forever about how you played them over Justin Jefferson and you made the playoffs, and then if you didn't, you just ignore it, act like it didn't happen. But if you hit it correctly, you get to talk shit for like ever in your league. That's the only reason I would be doing that. Like just to try to look smarter than I am.
I hope that
which
they've
would probably
already
burn
clinched.
up and blow up in my face, right?
I hope they've already clinched the playoffs and they are sending a message to Justin Jefferson. I hope
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. There you go.
So, friend of ours, Colby Conway, just sent me a text message, and he brought this to my attention.
No,
Nate,
I know.
why are you wearing a Raiders visor?
I
being
know.
a Chiefs
I
fan?
don't know. It was in the room, and I
What?
just rolled out of bed, and he sent me a picture of John Gruden, and said the Halloween was a couple months ago, and Yeah. I don't know, man. It was there. And
It was there. The
I noticed
visor
it
of my mortal
immediately, and I
enemy
didn't want
was
to bring it
there.
up in case there was something else going on. I like right when you popped on screen, I was like, Raiders
I'll keep you
visor.
guys
Huh?
guessing.
Why is it
But I
there?
didn't
Why
wanna
is
say
it
anything.
so accessible to you?
Thank you, Andy.
I don't know. I have
That should be the back of the closet behind everything else, and you're like, yeah, I
It should
want
be
at a
in
golf
ashes
outing.
after being set on fire.
Oh,
I
it
got
was
it at a
great.
golf
So,
outing for free. John Gruden signed it. That's the only reason I have it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
well, I bought it when Jorge, when we were in Vegas for the football draft, the one from 2 years ago, Andy. So when I was there drafting, and I had bought it just because it was there, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm in Vegas. I haven't been. I don't care. I brought it home.
You were like,
I
this will
yelled
really
at.
help me blend in and look like a local.
Vegas Golden Knight shirt. I'm dead broke, so I had that going for me. I left my damn computer down in the casino because I drank too much that night, and it was bad. But either way, wore it back, had it. Carrie yelled. We went to Mexico, and I brought it along. Wore it one day. She goes, "Why are you wearing that fucking hat?" And I go, "I don't know." A random person
they love
walks
the
up
Raiders
the
there.
steps. No, they walked up the steps and they go, "Your team sucks," and kept walking. I was like, "Oh man!" And she died. It was so great. She was cracking up, and I was like, "I don't even like the Raiders." And they're like, "Who wears a hat of a team they don't like?" And I was like, "Mexico." Oh
That's
well.
funny.
Yep. So
That happened to my mate in London as well. We were going to it was an international game like 2 or 3 years ago, and I can't remember which team he had on, but like there were a load of fans like giving him shit, and he's like, "I support this team. I've literally just put the top on."
exactly. Learn. You can't wear Disney to this show anymore. You get made fun of.
No Harry
Actually,
Potter references. I mean, it's
yeah. Andy, do you want to rank these people that was brought up in the chat in order of either
I'll pull it up.
cringiness or creepiness or
up.
however you want to? Yep.
I'll find it. Give me 1 second.
While you're doing that, oh, there you go. All right. This is Andrew's order. The podcasters over Trekkies. Jorge has opinion of Trekkies versus Trekkers. We'll get to that later. Harry Potter adults and then Disney adults. Most at least embarrassing. Would you rearrange any of those?
I will say this is just my personal experience. The Disney adults, it only really flourishes when they are on Disney like I don't know very many Disney adults who are like just like out in the wild wearing their dopey sweatshirt and their whatever like the character hats and stuff like that. It's when they are on property at the parks that they go crazy. In that environment, I think they might be the worst. But
I think Harry Potter adults are number one there. I don't know, man. You see them, they're weird.
Yeah.
Wearing the full gown.
They also
they
drop references into everyday conversation that you're supposed to acknowledge and like kind of respect, and I don't know, that's a bit much for me. Obviously, fantasy football podcasters are the worst.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So we're always wrong.
Star Trek for the win. Yay.
Right. No, the final spot on that is that I've noticed when we've been to Universal, it's also, mind you, it's in Orlando, at least the one that I've been to. It's hot as hell. And these people in the Harry robes are walking around, not only the profusely sweating with the wand, with the robes. I'm like, dude, you made this decision. You had to sleep, you made the bed, you sleep in it, but ease up on, you don't need to wear a robe and a scarf when it's 104 outside.
It's set in the UK. It's set in Scotland. The castle is set in Scotland.
Exactly. It's cold. It's not downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
They got T-shirts. You don't need to wear the robes. It's not Halloween. So
That's a great call.
Yeah.
All
right, we'll go back to mods. Do we? No, go. Sorry, I'm sorry. Ray Gamer.
We missed one. One question.
This
we'll
is
start right here.
Yeah.
This is a non-PPR league, 6 points per passing touchdown. Which two would you start? Goes right along with our conversations. So let's start here between Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka, Cortland Sutton, or BTJ. You got to start two there. Andy, I know that Jefferson, if he's in your top 20, he's one of these two. Who would your second be?
Yeah, it's Jefferson and Egbuka. I I could feel better about it. I wouldn't touch BTJ. I mean, we are way past the point where like I need to see it from BTJ before he even enters this sort of conversation. That QB call is tough because as much as I like, I'll defend Lamar's performance last week. I think I'd probably still go Burrow here. I think Burrow, when he has both Chase and Higgins at his disposal and Chase Brown, I mean, I don't know.
He's playing in Buffalo though, right?
He is playing in Buffalo. Don't love the weather scenes that I've witnessed so far. But it also, I'm not sure it's like howling wind or anything like
Gotcha.
that. It's just a bunch of snow. It looks lovely. Looks like it would be really fun to play in, but not maybe fun to kick in. I've got Burrow like just one spot above Lamar here. This is another question where like, why do you have all these guys? This is crazy. I mean, I understand why Jade Daniels was available to you because he probably got dropped and you just scooped him up because he's too good to leave out there. But man, this is too many good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And we had this exact question a couple different times between Darren Waller and Harold Fannin. We've went the direction of Fannin every time. Different opinion? Would you lean Fannin as well? Or
I'm
you Waller?
like a Harold Fannin fanboy. I would definitely play him. I mean, Waller is just this is the way the tight end position is. But if you're playing Waller, you're just hoping for a touchdown.
Right.
And it's not unreasonable, but I'd go.
No, but like 4 weeks in a row we had one, or
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he scored at least one. In 1 week, he scored 2 touchdowns.
yeah, he was. I mean, he emerged, but still, his ceiling I think is still very close to Harold Fannin's proverbial floor, almost with at least with Shador especially. So in full point PPR, tied in premium here, Kate Otten, Isaiah Likely. Oh, so anyone? I'm leaning Otten, but it's not by it's a pretty slim margin right now. Let me check one thing.
Likely's tough to play, man. I mean, I think Andrews has cemented himself back as the number one. I'd take Otten over this. I mean, Likely's his floor is 0.
I guess the worry with Otten is just that with Godwin coming back, I mean, the times that he's been fantasy relevant is basically when there's no one else to throw to.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking at productivity the past few weeks. Likely and Otten they have the same target numbers, 9, but Otten, I got 6 for 9, but I only got you 30 yards, versus Likely, who has over like 150 yards receiving, or 105 yards, excuse me, off of 9 targets. So we're looking at from a productivity standpoint. I don't know. Maybe I'm switching to Likely in this situation.
Most of the times I would say Otten, but I'm going Likely. The Steelers have been terrible against underneath routes. I think Likely could be that guy this week. I could see him having a pretty big game. And then the fumble last week crushed his numbers, but if he catches that and scores, it's a totally different ball game. I'm usually 9 times out of 10 Otten over Likely, but I'm probably Likely this week.
Which I hate that fumble. That scenario, just kind of a little glitch in the NFL scenario. It just not scoring and rules.
It is unusually punishing. Yeah.
It is the worst. I mean,
I can understand okay, you fumble in the end zone and you're like, okay, it moves the ball back to the 10 or moves the ball back to the 20, but you give the other team the football.
Yeah.
That's the one that blows. I'm like, if you want to punish a guy oh, you fumbled it, went out of bounds. Okay, move it back 10 yards or move it back 20 yards, but just be like, oh, ball's not yours anymore.
Yeah, end zone rules in the NFL are the most illogical, weird scenario that you can do anything you want that normally outside of the pylon would be deemed out of bounds, incomplete, etc. But if you touch this little 2-foot tall orange piece of whatever material it is, that's kind of the end all be all, and there's no questions asked. And yet there's so many other weird scenarios, but that's my soapbox. So
the scoring for in sleeper for fumbles frustrates me because you lose if a running back fumbles the ball and it's recovered by his own team, you still lose points for that fumble. So it's 2 categories: it's fumble and fumble lost. It's really frustrating.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you got to go in and manually change it. I don't like it.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Good to know. All right, so CJ Stroud, Kirk Cousins, Cam Ward. Ew. Hey, Moggs, you need to get a hold of the guy from earlier who has Lamar, JD, and Burrow.
Make a trade. Make a
See if you can
trade.
do a different league
across
trade.
Yeah.
You got way too many and way too few. So you want to rank the gross there, Andy?
Yeah, I would play Stroud here because he's he's the one good player in this question. is pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, I know it's not an ideal matchup for him, but I feel better about Stroud with Collins and Higgins and like real weapons than I do. I mean, this is pretty bleak for Kirk Cousins, and they're getting I think they're getting all they could have possibly expected to get out of like end stage Kirk Cousins. It's been fine, but hate that matchup, and I just. I think Cam Ward actually has had moments where he has looked like a pretty good, interesting young piece, but I wouldn't play him right now given the team context.
Yeah, they need,
If you get any kind of negative points for sacks or turnovers, you don't want to play Cam Ward against Cleveland this week. I mean, I'm in leagues where he legit could score you negative 15 points with sacks this weekend. So that I would not want to be on that boat this week on Cam Ward at all.
Yeah. All right. So we got like 3 more questions.
I was just going to quickly ask, would you play Tyrod Taylor over CJ Stroud? Because he's someone that may be available on the waiver wire.
Yeah, that's super close. I'd be close to doing it. I'd still go Stroud, but I see the temptation with Taylor.
Yeah, he is definitely tempting. Pat Bryant or Kareem Hunt in a full point PPR for Moggs. He's got a couple must win games scenarios, so Moggs is always in, so we'll make sure to get his questions in.
I like Hunt. I mean, I think Hunt proved last week that he's still the number 1 back. I mean, I think he had 15 touches to Pacheco's 3. I could be wrong there, but it was something like that. So I think the opportunity is going to be there for Hunt.
Yeah, he did. He maintained even with Pacheco back, I think 60+% of the workload. So
Kansas City definitely without Simmons, right? And Trey Smith and whatever, Taylor is whatever, but it's still 3 starting offensive linemen. I am starting Kareem Hunt in a couple places, but I feel terrible about it.
Yeah, Simmons, if I saw that last night, it was late. I think they might have put him on IR. Yeah, which really sucks. At least it's not anything health related, which was pre-draft scenario. It's still not great, but it's rough to that offensive line. Maybe that's why I'm wearing the Raiders hat. Maybe I've jumped ship, jumping on the Raiders. Can't get much worse. All right, this is the must-win game, half-point PPR. Jaden Reed, Zach Charbonnet, Hollywood Brown, Rondé Gadsden, and then at tight end, choosing between Dalton Kincaid or Rondé Gadsden. Andy, we talked earlier. Dalton Kincaid, historically bad Cincinnati Bengals defense, coming back from injury, limited, usage, et cetera, all the negatives that you can talk about for Kincaid, despite his positive gains over the season here and there. Are you leaning Kincaid in this matchup, or is it Rondé Gadsden?
Yeah, Gadsden has also given you like 3 straight games that are really, really quiet. And I think he's a really fun player. I think he's a really fun player long term. And the great weeks were awesome. But this is a somewhat different version of the Chargers offense. We've got Herbert questions. We've got offensive line questions. It's enough for me to stay away from Gadsden. Also, I feel like it's one of those games where like even though they may limit his snaps, they're going to make him a priority when he's on the field. And it's just such a good matchup. It'd be really difficult to get away from it. I think I play Charbonnet in the other question too.
Yep. I'm right there with you. And then Ronnie Daniels says, good morning. Morning to you as well. Needs one between Burrow, Love, Darnold. Good Lord, man. How am I starting Cam Ward in some of these super flex leagues and the options of Burrow, Love, Darnold, and JD5? I guess we'll narrow it down. Burrow or Jaden Daniels for you guys. I assume that's everybody's top 2 choices. And I'm Burrow for myself. Is anybody not Burrow?
Burrow.
Yep.
I'm Burrow, but I don't like the weather situation. I'm a bit worried about it.
Yeah, I know, but it's like Andy said, the wind, snow is snow, and I'll live with it. Hey, Rachel's here. Rachel, good morning. Which one are you sitting? We've had a lot of good, who you cutting, who you sitting. So instead of us being supportive and like, hey, which guy are you going to put in your lineup to win? It's which one of these bums are we cutting from our lineup? And I like this change that we've made over 14 weeks now. It's really the better way to do this. Is I know who I'm starting, but are you sitting Godwin, McConkey, Watson, or Metcalf? Andy, I'll let you start.
I'm sitting Metcalf.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player, but man, nothing goes downfield in that offense. It was fine earlier this year when like everything to Metcalf was like a yards after catch miracle. But without that, you're probably looking at. Plus, he doesn't have. I don't think he has a double-digit target game yet this year, which is pretty wild given the other names in that receiving core. So he's an easy sit for. I don't even think I'd feel bad if like we get like a random touchdown out of DK Metcalf. I mean, he has played his way into this question, and I think he's the guy I'd sit.
You were correct. Not a single double-digit target game. Look at the targets, and you're like, oh, 8, 8, 7, 8, 8. Those are great.
Yeah.
But the yardage, not a single double-digit, and only 100+ yard game, and that was 126
That was when
in week 4.
he took that screen to the house, and that was
80
like
yards.
Well,
80
if
yards.
you think about
Exactly.
Metcalf as a deep ball, long ball player, all his targets and everything he's catching are screens now. Like
Exactly.
they cannot get him the football. So the only way that he can get touches are on short passes and screens, which you don't think about that. So he is seeing a decent amount of targets, but everything's short and everything's like these, it's 3rd and 10 and I'm throwing you a 2-yard slant. It's brutal. It's brutal right now.
I remember seeing it a few weeks back about the yak, and that was all Pittsburgh. I mean, to the point where I think there was a matchup they had where it was a Calvin Austin scenario where they were leading, the Steelers were leading the NFL in yards after catch per reception, and the team they were playing, whoever it was 2-3 weeks ago, was last in the league in terms of, or most yards allowed after. And I was like, what a perfect confluence of events. And Calvin Austin had like 3 catches for 24 yards. And so
Can I just say something about Calvin Austin real fast? There are so many times that I watch passes to Calvin Austin, and I'm like, it goes over his fingertips, just barely touches it, catch it. And I'm like, that would have hit DK Metcalf like right in the middle
ribs.
Of the numbers.
Yeah.
Like
in
it's so it's infuriating how small Calvin Austin is. Like and you look, I think as a quarterback, you're like throwing a ball that 9 times out of 10 is a perfect ball for anyone else, and it's over Calvin Austin's head. It drives me insane because I'm like, that's a perfect pass, but it's just like just outside of his hands because he's so small. I mean, it's crazy.
He was also like a 40-inch vertical guy too. Like that guy's an athlete. But you're right. He's tiny.
When you're 5'4", yeah, you need a 40-inch vertical.
Dude, I mean, he is maybe 5'7". They're on it, but he's so small. You watch him stand next to anyone, I'm like, he is the same height as my mom. Like he is so short. It's crazy how short he is.
So the Steelers the past 4 weeks have been running man the 13th most in terms of coverage. And when you look at the fantasy points per route run versus that coverage for wide receivers, Calvin Austin, wide receiver 49, DK Metcalf 82. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying start Calvin Austin over DK Metcalf unless
you don't want
like
if
it's like a deep DFS play, like your salary is like bottom of the barrel, you need somebody who's super, super cheap. I don't know, man. Like this, we could be talking about Calvin Austin.
I mean, I played Monty over DK in a ton of leagues this week. Like in my flex play, like I was I'm over DK. I'm playing Monty and hoping he gets a touchdown. So I played him on Thursday night over.
I mean, they've kind of turned DK into like Wan'Dale Robinson, right? I bet their 8 odds aren't that.
No, crazy, right?
Not at all. It's crazy. All right, so last question, and we'll get out of here. It's a super flex question that we all knew was going to happen. Moggs, way to go out on a high note. Marshall Dutton, JJ McCarthy, Skull, Truthers. haters are all.
I love that we're not even talking about the team's like number one running back. Usually, when these questions roll in, somebody's considering in the super flex spot
exactly
an actual like starting NFL running back, but
Tony Pollard or JJ McCarthy.
No, the guy that might fall into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown.
Yep. So, on that note, I think that we'll leave you for the day. It really is. We didn't get a chance to talk too much about how important this week is to many out there. So the good news is if you're watching this, you're one of two people. You're either in the playoffs, hunting for the playoffs, trying to get in, or two, you've been out of the playoffs for a very long time and you're still watching because you just love listening to us all talk about Trekkies and Trekkers and Harry Potter and Disney and occasionally some football talk. So thank each and every one of you guys. We will be back next week as well for week 1 of most people's fantasy playoffs, where we know the questions every game then becomes even more so important. Not that they haven't been, but quick goodbyes from everybody around. JT, anything?
Hoping for a better week this week than last week. Just got buried everywhere. Everywhere I could have clinched a playoff spot, I lost last week, so I need a bunch of big weeks this week. And, of course, no CMC for me. I feel for everyone else who is begging to make the playoffs with CMC on a bye this week, killing me. But good luck to everybody. Hopefully you make it in. I'm, like, fighting for the last spot in, like, 15 leagues. I'm like, I just need to score enough points or get a win or have someone else lose, which I hate having to have someone else lose to get in, but I'm right there.
So wait, did I miss the answer? I assume the answer is JJ McCarthy. Still, we are.
I don't answer it. We kind of answered it by not answering it, saying like you should probably just play the quarterback, even if he's bad, as opposed to the backup running back.
I mean, McCarthy can have a terrible day, and it's 11 points for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was? And it's against Washington as well.
Yeah.
What is his worst? So, everybody else want to say your goodbyes, and we'll jump out of here.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, everybody who tuned in this morning. It's always great getting this cast and crew together to help you with your fantasy football advice. And like what Nate said, we'll be back next week and every week through the fantasy playoffs. Remember to head over to fantasyandframes.com, check out all of our shows or articles. We really enjoy all this. We have a passion for fantasy football, and we appreciate you all tuning in and sharing that passion with us. So good luck this week in getting into the playoffs. Or more importantly, I shouldn't say more importantly, that is the most important thing. But if you get the opportunity to play spoiler against somebody you really don't like, good luck to you also.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, thank you guys. This has been a blast. This has been an absolute blast doing this. Let's go Bears.
Yeah. Oh, maybe will you get your weekly text from me in the fourth quarter after they pull out a stunner? Right. It's literally like clockwork almost every week, and I don't get any. And you know what? What a kind soul. It doesn't mention anything about how shitty the Chiefs played or their loss or anything. Just takes it with grace and moves right on. So here's to you. Dave, how's is it warming up finally for you out there in California?
Dude, it's like 80 degrees, so it's cold. So no, I'm joking. Yeah, I don't know what it is, like 60 or something, but it's good.
Poor guy.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay.
It is. It's cold, man. I'm used to like 85, so it's a big drop.
I have a half foot of snow, fresh snow outside right now on top of the other half foot of snow that was already out there, and it is so cold.
Ours is melted.
I'm going to be in Australia next week for the next 4 or 5 weeks. So I was working out the time. I'm still going to do it. We're going to have to get up at midnight to do this thing. So I'm either going to be very drunk, very tired, or both. But we'll be fine.
Well, as Jess Ballin with Jay said in the chat earlier, he likes off the rails. So, you might as well just keep throwing that in the show.
Great. So we're going to all be getting a bag of Vegemite and a bunch of other garbage from
you will.
The country.
You will. You will.
I actually, you know what? I would try it. I've watched enough people hate it and say it's light, everything else. So yeah, 100%. I'll give you my address. I'll do a tasting on air as I in a Harry Potter regalia and
Tim Tams and Vegemite.
The hell are Tim Tams?
Tim Tams are great.
There's like a chocolate covered. We call it a biscuit, but it's a cookie, I guess you'd say. And it's kind of, how would you describe it, Jonathan? I don't know.
Wow, sounds wonderful.
Yeah, because I would have said a biscuit as well, but that's
Okay, so chocolate covered cookie. Got it.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
kind of like
Yeah.
kind of like
Wow,
an Oreo.
what an
but like-
amazing,
but it's
yeah.
like a-
We
I
can't get
know.
that anywhere here.
No chocolate covered cookies. Nope.
Yeah.
Never heard
Exactly.
of
It's
it.
hard to explain. Just
When you guys go back to
bloody get you
Australia,
somewhere.
I'll have something for you guys to
Yeah,
take back.
yeah.
I'll take potatoes and cut them up into small pieces and put them in hot oil and let you take it back over with you. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking one item.
Yeah, we have
potato.
Keebler Elf cookies, which are just the same as your Tim Tams. Okay, so
Exactly. All right, Jonathan. Thanks again for joining us, man. That's hopefully you'll be back next week
Thank
with
you.
us.
I
or
was
you going to some game or something.
No, I was actually sorry. I was just looking up what temperature Edinburgh is to see if Dave would actually survive, and I had to convert it to Fahrenheit. So it's 45 here, so I'm not sure if Dave would actually survive.
But no, definitely not. No, no. If it's below 60, it's unbearable. Can't do it. It's tough. You stay in the house.
Yeah,
I wore a
which
short
is
sleeve shirt
really funny
yesterday.
being in Scotland.
45.
yeah, that's what I did in the cold.
I
Shorts and t-shirts.
was
Maybe a
out in
hoodie.
shorts yesterday going for a run. Like,
No, I didn't.
Wait.
But all right, everybody, I'll let you guys get rolling. It's 11.